Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Kyuubi turns Naruto into a kitsune part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It was raining Kami. He loved the rain. It reminded him of all his worries and washed them off his skin as if it was plain dirt. The rain so full of life, but then again, so full of grief. Why did it rain? Why did the rain have to feel like tears running down his face? Who in the clouds was crying? And for whom, or for what? Did Kami-sama feel sad about something? He could only think of one reason. Kami-sama was sad. He was going to live, and he failed to keep his promises to help the world. That must have been it. Kami-sama hated him for living. He lay in the river, listening as a waterfall sprang through rushing water to clean the damage he had left on the earth. A dark figure came upon him, spiked hair and no face. He wondered if this was just another attempt to kill him. He would die and Kami would have no reason to cry. He would finally give the Almighty Lord salvation from his taint. Suddenly he felt a heavier drop of rain, something too heavy of grief to fully understand it was just rain. No, with his empty but open eyes, he saw another drop fall, but not from the sky, but from the figure above him. He felt a sting in his heart. Was this someone he knew? Or was it just a tear of anger that threatened to promise death tonight? He did not know, but he wanted to at least give himself less to think about, and retreated into his mindscape. Naruto had pummeled Sasuke, somehow pummeled him, and beat the bastard for leaving, and actually stopped him from going any further. Sadly though, he had taken a direct Chidori charged claw into his heart. He felt heavy, he felt dead, but something in him kept him living, something he never knew. Naruto had retreated into his mind, and found the Kyuubi's cage just inches from him. He looked up into the eyes of the angry fox. We're going to die, and I'm glad Kami-sama won't have to deal with my taint in this plane. That struck the Kyuubi hard. He struck his head against the cage and roared. Then let me out. Free me. Naruto stood his ground well, not letting up as his energy, his remaining life energy, closed around them. It was only him and the Kyuubi. If you want to be free, you will have to kill me, but as equals. Or does the Kyuubi enjoy his arrogance and wish to kill a boy who had willed your life to stay in this plane? I deserve a fair match against you, Kyuubi, and you know this. Kyuubi growled as he looked down on the boy. He looked back, and found everything about this boy, and knew the boy could have easily torn his furry flesh from his bone, and kill him in his own mind if need be. But now, he had some control. He could fairly battle Naruto in this changed scape of land. It was his pride as a demon, and his honor as a fox that drove the desire to complete the request, or forever lose honor. Kyuubi shrunk, turning into a human-formed self of his former shell. What surprised Naruto most was it was a girl, only twice his age and in her prime. Blue battle kimono and fox ears and 9 fluffy tails behind her. The last thing he would expect of this girl Kyuubi was the kenjutsu she decided upon. A rather large zanbatsu, and only in one hand, the other was a rather slanted tanto. Kyuubi smiled sadly. I hate this form. It makes me look weak. Naruto smiled slightly. It makes you look normal. I'm no sexist, it's only I've ever seen Sakura be so weak. You could be like Gigi-sama, extremely strong. Kyuubi smiled before remembering suddenly she respected the boy for his strength, but she hated him for being a prison to her. She would be free even if it meant killing this boy. Naruto smiled slightly. Ready to begin? He wanted this over with, and in truth, he knew he would lose, but he would make sure Kyuubi never got out, even if he died in the process. Kyuubi got in her stance, the zanbatsu, handle down behind her back, tanto ready along her arm in front of her. Naruto took a deep breath and waited. They both waited for a minute, reading movements, figuring out what the other would do, and changed their plan, only it always changed. They battled in strategy, they battled in spirit, and they battled with wits of knowledge. Water dripped slowly as it all went by, but one drop was bigger than the rest, and started to fall between them. It fell and fell, going down. Between their visions it splashed, and among the slight shock of water against water, came the force of Naruto's kunai against Kyuubi's zanbatsu. Naruto was growling his frustrations, his small blade against this tall heavy metal sword, much more like Gamabunta's katana rather than a normal shinobi blade. Kyuubi had to admire Naruto for a brief second, having stopped the power of 2 tails worth of chakra-induced muscle enhancement, and the greater of her blades with a simple kunai. This boy had something inside him giving him the strength of 4 of her tails. Only for a brief second, as her tanto came rushing under the arm and handle of the zanbatsu, trying to slice off some of Naruto's elbow. Naruto on the other hand jumped back, and to his left to avoid both the tanto's short reach and the zanbatsu's heavy straight fall. Naruto had made 2 clones ready to fight as soon as he got distance, but in a second, one disappeared as a fireball engulfed it and burned it into a poof of smoke. Naruto's other clone charged forth, ducking as Kyuubi twisted and the tanto rushed by, slicing a few hairs off the clone's head. Kyuubi had to admit, Sending in a Super Kage Bunshin was a smart move, but not smart enough as her center of balance took off her Tanto's reach. The Zanbatsu rushed in and sliced the clone in two. Little for her to find was the real Naruto rushing in, covered by smoke, and grabbed the handle of the massive blade, and suck it into the watery earth in his mind. Kyuubi thought Naruto would try to use a distraction. He's been getting rather good ever since that perverted frog came in with the knowledge of such techniques. But she would never predict Naruto holding her next move at a standstill, one arm holding the handle of the Zanbatsu, keeping it shoved in the cement of the sewer, but the other somehow managed to hold her other arm at bay, her Tanto at her side. Her arms crossed, she would not be able to be very agile without hurting herself, and then her chances of escaping. Kyuubi only thought of 3 moves to stop this, and win. One being to let her weapons go and forward every ounce of chakra in her system to kill the boy. But then again, if she used it right away, her chances of escaping were slim, especially if he lived through it all. 2 being to flip her torso back, using her Zanbatsu as a steady ground, having the reach to kick Naruto back, and using her momentum and agility, finding his weak point in defense and taking advantage. Still, she knew he'd find a way to use his jutsus against her and coming back to defeat him, and once again being at stalemate. Her third counter was to use her chakra to counter his strength, and forward herself in a classic move he's so used to by now, and bash her head against his. Though how hard his noodle was, she knew, even without that band, he'd be standing tall against her. She was going to have a lot of trouble ahead of her. Naruto's strength against her slacked, and some part of her felt confused. She was almost shocked at how he slowly reached back and stood in front of her. She had a perfect chance to end this. She reared her Tanto back and was about to swing, when suddenly Naruto sobbed, ready to take the fall. Naruto, during their stalemate, was in thought. He knew every which way he could try to bring Kyuubi down would be his end. Tackling the woman would surely end his life, as her tail could use and flip them, and so her reach could kill him in one stake to his heart. He could throw her, but even if he managed to lift her, she could use her blade to reroute herself and get his back. Every move he could make, he would die. So he just gave in. Kyuubi stopped mid-swing, looking upon the boy as he cried, and standing silent in his tears as he awaited death. Something broke inside of her, something ill-fashioned, as she felt the urge to hug the boy instead of kill him. Naruto was getting impatient though, as he strained his muscles in a clamp, and shouted, "Just kill me already!" Kyuubi gasped, wide-eyed at the hate and grief of the boy in his eyes. The life passed through them, and Kyuubi remembered everything about the boy. She reared her blade back again, growling in anticipation for freedom. Naruto let his head down as he waited for death. He felt the swing of the blade, he felt the swish of metal against air, and he felt the cold, lifeless tool against his very soul. He felt the warmth of the summer sun, and the breeze of the hot sauna near the Hokage mountain. He felt fleshy, taut skin wrap around him, and fur holding his body, and felt life. He looked up with teary eyes to see the sad eyes of Kyuubi, as she held him firm like a mother protecting her child. He felt safe, alive, and warm. Kyuubi held tightly to Naruto's body and let a single tear fall towards the sewer's supply of liquid. After a few seconds, Kyuubi loosened her grip on the boy, and looked at him. "Kami-sama does not feel sad that you are living. Kit sadder that she let you down. She allowed your life the way it was. But I know she did not mean harm to you." Naruto looked shocked. How did Kyuubi get so nice? And in fact, how did she know Kami's feelings? Is she trying to trick him? It would fit the fox well. Naruto frowned, still sobbing gently as he looked down, trying to think things through. Sadly, Kyuubi didn't have the patience. "I don't have much time, Kit. If I stay here any longer, I will no longer be able to live on the outside. This is our only window of opportunity. You might not die, because Kakashi is carrying you to Konoha for treatment, but I will. I can save you, and at the same time, stop myself from being sealed within the Shinigami's stomach." Naruto grew slightly frustrated. Did the fox think he was stupid? Did this wicked creature living within him think her container for a fool? "Kami-sama hates me and will be glad I'm gone. If I ever live through this, I swear I'm going to have someone kill me, rip me to shreds or worse, just so Kami won't have to worry about my filthy hands ruining the world. As for you, you may be a demon and uphold honor. Well, fine, you beat me, kill me and go. Just don't expect me to be this kind later if you decide to stay." Naruto turned and walked away for a little step and stood, waiting for the Kyuubi to either kill him or get back in her cage. Kyuubi, on the other hand, stood in anguish, sad she had let the boy on so many times, and even with her tricky fox routine, she wasn't totally selfish. She hadn't forgiven the son of the Yondaime for keeping her hostage, or his father for sealing her in a child. So mad at them both, she tried everything to make life miserable, but she kept him alive, not for her own selfish needs though, but now she was reaping the emotional benefits. She sat down in a heap, tears streaming slowly as her tails got soggy from the sewer of a mind. Naruto waited for a while before thinking Kyuubi had given up and wanted to stay, and was about to go when he heard sloshing behind him. Naruto looked back and saw Kyuubi getting up, and sighing. "I know, Naruto, I'm a tricky fox demon who made your life a living hell. But that doesn't give me the right to leave, even after fighting for freedom. You may not like me, and you may not believe me, but you're wrong. Kami-sama does feel sad about letting your life get so horrible. But now I'm going to make it right. Get ready, kid, I'm going to fix your life even if I have to spend the rest of my days in the Shinigami's belly. Naruto looked surprised at the outburst, but not nearly as shocked until he saw Kyuubi's chakra envelope them, both becoming red with chakra before a light sprang forth. Naruto felt alive. He was being forced into the strength within him, but even if Kyuubi's chakra did conduct the strength he was being given, he felt it was his own, as if he was meant to feel this strong. He felt his own muscles grow, his own body building tough, and felt more so alive than ever in his life. Kakashi was stunned. Kakashi had looked at Naruto, and cried before the boy closed his eyes. He had led his team to fight, and almost die. He couldn't find the traitor of a genin anywhere. He could have floated out of the river somewhere to rise by now. Even if he did go find Sasuke, Naruto would be dead by the time he came back, and he needed to hurry. He grabbed the blonde and rushed his feet, jumping and running through trees and bushes, trying to get to Konoha before the boy decided to quit on him. As he ran, he summoned Pakin, and before the dog came to life, Kakashi was gone from the dog where he stood. Thankfully, Pakin was facing the way he was running, and in a feat of four-legged speed caught up. Kakashi looked to his partner. Send word to Tsunade-sama. Sasuke vanished, mission failure, Naruto in need of medical treatment immediately, status, heart punctured, neck broken, hands deformed, and left arm completely burned to the skin. Go now. Pakin reversed his summon and was back in Konoha. He made it into the hospital and tried to find Tsunade. Once he sniffed her out, he told her everything Kakashi told him. Kakashi was still on the run, going as fast as he could to reach Konoha, when suddenly, in his arms, Naruto glowed bright red, and was forced to let go of the boy, hitting the ground and looking in pain as Naruto glowed, raging white fire as the light seemed to change him. Kakashi knew this was Kyuubi's doing, but something smelled demonic about this. He could swear this was to help the boy, not hurt him to be free, but even his Sharingan, I could not deny this boy would die if he did not make it back. He grabbed the boy, and found that white burning fire that burned him before was now healing the burns it made, and acted very wonderfully on his skin. He forgot that and hurried. He had a whole 10 miles to run before he had a chance to make it inside the gate to his village. When he got there, though, he found Sakura standing there in wait, and seeing Gaara right at her side as well meant the help was a success. He knew why they both waited and hated Sakura for not caring about Naruto so much, and if she did any act of hatred when he stopped to tell them, he would personally send her into the hospital bed farthest from Naruto's room. He made it back and looked at them both. Gaara-san, thanks for giving us a helping hand. I know Naruto would appreciate your visit to the hospital when he wakes. Sakura, there's no time though. Sasuke is gone. Naruto couldn't bring him back, and as you can see, Sasuke was about to kill Naruto-kun. Looking and gesturing towards the heavy mark in the blonde's chest. As much as he wanted her to care for Naruto right now, she cried, but not in sadness at losing one teammate and the other badly wounded. No, but she was angry, looking at Naruto with hatred. He promised he'd bring back Sasuke-kun. Now he's hurt, and Sasuke-kun's gone. He doesn't deserve to be on my team, as he can't even bring back Sasuke-kun. Cha! He wasn't strong enough to beat Sasuke-kun anyway. Kakashi sensed she was about to take out a kunai and kill her own teammate, and when she did, he grabbed at her hand, stopping her. Kakashi looked mad. He twisted her hand slightly, and her kunai fell. Gaara saw the anger and had his sand out, but the copy nin had stopped Sakura before he could get it out enough to attack. Kakashi glared meanly at Sakura, waiting for her response. She didn't have to say anything, though, he just wanted to hear it. Kakashi-sensei, you're hurting me. Let me go. I need to kill Naruto for being so weak. He deserves to die. He doesn't give me an ounce of peace and always getting in my and Sasuke-kun's way. Kakashi twisted the arm more. Hear that, Gaara-san? Gaara nodded, finally recognizing what Kakashi was waiting for. Threatening to kill a fellow Konoha ninja, and also comrade in arms. He was supposed to be your friend Sakura, but now you want to kill him, and not to mention letting a traitor escape, and add on that you're protecting that traitor Sakura. I once said those who don't follow the rules are trash, but those who don't help their friends and comrades are worth less than trash. You're no longer my student, and now you're also a traitor to this village. I can kill you, but I'll allow you life, he said before suddenly grabbing her shoulder and breaking it out of its socket, before tripping the girl and elbowing her to the ground, breaking ribs. Carry the traitor, Gaara-san. We have business at the hospital. Kakashi ran, not waiting for Gaara to catch up. Once Kakashi got there, Tsunade was waiting for Naruto, and seeing the white flames and the red line around Naruto's body, she hurried him to a room, and was crying, wishing the necklace wouldn't kill him. It was meant to keep the next Hokage alive. So far it was holding up its end of the deal, but how much longer? Only time would tell as she started to fix Naruto up, not knowing the Kyuubi was helping. "Get me the antibiotic. He's going critical." A rather ticked off and scared medic shouted to his team. This one was a hassle to deal with for sure. They had only gotten the call moments ago, and now the rising casualties just did that. Rose. Now was not the time to slack off, and it was getting to be heavier with each push. On the other side of the room, 4 pairs of eyes looked on as the patient was thrashing around, a flame engulfing him. They saw this for a good 2 hours, wondering if he would ever be okay. Naruto was being burned, and healed, also his body giving away cuts and bruises from nowhere, as if an invisible specter played games to treat the boy badly, and give everyone a hell of a heart attack. It's been getting slightly worse ever since they started though, as if everything they did made the cuts and bruises appear. Tsunade was currently talking to the council over such matters of Naruto, and everyone else was waiting, or helping Naruto through his troubles. They had healed, and helped all others, but now Naruto is the only one who was in trouble after 10 hours. The medics working feverishly to take down the critical heart and lung failures right now, not understanding what was going on. Although their healing talents were the best, considering why they were here in the first place, they still needed loads of chakra, some to heal the rising wounds, and again needed chakra in order to stop them from burning as they tried to save him. Inside Naruto, his mind was a blur, which even Inochi, Ino's father, couldn't even read. It seems like the kid knew more about pain than anyone in the world. In Inochi's words exact. From what I read and saw, the kid should be dead. His mental stability is intact. Even after the abuse of every last villager he met, his spirit is enduring. Even after every heartbreak of promises that were so false he almost died every time, but his emotional heritage seems shattered. This kid can't feel anything anymore. I did detect him to feel kindness, and only for a fair few, and also love for only one person. But as soon as I went further into it, it seems he no longer feels the same about that pink-haired traitor. This kid is something else to endure all his life as he had. If it were me, I'd let the Kyuubi out, but this kid is something else. He refused to hurt the village, and still wants to protect the people who hurt him all his life, just because he wants to feel like he did something good when he thinks all he ever did was make Kami-sama cry in anguish for even being alive. If Kyuubi is trying to get free, I hope this kid lets him, but it's his choice, and if he wants to protect us further, then with everything I am, I'll protect this kid from the council. Inochi finally finished, and left without receiving any words. He didn't need them. He would talk more than anyone in the council soon. Gaara had a sad look in his eyes. He couldn't understand why his friend bared any kindness to this village. He would tear this village limb from limb. If it wasn't for his friend Naruto, though, he would do it right this second. He knew, though, if he even tried, Naruto would be broken forever, and would let this evil village live. At least until Naruto permitted its destruction. As they contemplated their comrade's fate, they were not sensing what was going on inside Naruto, nor what is being changed by the Kyuubi herself. Naruto, in a fit of panic at Kyuubi's sudden charge of chakra, forced him to stay in the scape, but as he did, he felt his body grow and heal all the same. He felt incredible. But nothing else could be a bigger burden off his chest than his thoughts. He knew himself as an idiot. He wasn't that smart or wise, but still in the heat of his heart he could sense his intelligence, and he knew he should have gone with being smarter than normal Chunin. He wasn't, but the fact was now his thoughts were simple and more agreeable. That's when he felt something deep inside him. He felt every punch, every kick and huff, every word that caused him so much grief, coming from one person no less. He figured it out. Sakura was nothing anymore. She'd kill him if she had he chance, so he forced himself to forget his heart over her. Naruto felt his chakra build. He could sense it himself. Everything in him felt right, and everything in him felt incredibly invincible. Nothing could stand against him if this was what he got for Kyuubi's final act of kindness, no doubt. He looked ahead, and saw Kyuubi, raging in chakra as it sunk within him, trying to make her final act memorable. She smiled through a few tears before calling out. "I've tried hard to keep you weak, your height and strength to name a few, but now it's time to give you it all back, and if this ever saves you, nothing short of your body being ripped to shreds will kill you. You'll have infinite chakra, and every piece of wisdom and knowledge I have to offer. So give your enemies heck." With a final shout, everything within Naruto's mind flashed, and everything in his life came crashing upon him, and he felt his horrible life once more as Kyuubi changed his chakra slightly to give him another element manipulation in his chakra. Kyuubi was finishing up, as so was Naruto's memories, and Kyuubi had a smirk on her face as she was almost done. She knew as soon as the memory flashback she forced on Naruto, the chakra in his system would allow him his new element, but now was a time to concentrate, so she got ready. In the room outside of Naruto, everyone still looked on and were worried it would never end. It took Kakashi to hold Gaara down for a moment longer, and in that moment, Naruto finally subsided as the white flame calmed, The medics could heal the last few wounds just as the last wound was fully healed though. Electricity coursed through Naruto, and shattering everything around him for a moment as it surged around him. Kakashi didn't like this. Kyuubi must have added something to Naruto, because he looked longer along the bed, and his features more developed, especially his face and torso, as he was more muscular, and looked so much like the fourth. As soon as Naruto's body stopped crackling with lightning, the flame shifted, and Naruto's head and waist was being coated with flame in an instant though. Naruto grew ears, golden-tipped blood-red ears on his head, and the same tint of color for 9 flowing tails behind him. The Kyuubi turned Naruto into a kitsune. Kakashi would wait, see if Naruto was himself, or Kyuubi now before making any moves. Naruto was on the bed, sleeping soundly and straight, as if waiting for the right moment for everything to wake up inside. Just in a second though, Hinata came rushing to his side. The lightning woke her up, and saw this, and now she was holding on to the fox boy, crying as she tried to find out if he was okay with her Byakugan and sighed that he was still the same, just way more chakra, and the new appendages. Hinata lay on top of Naruto, waiting for him to wake up, but little did she know what he would do when he did. Naruto was waking in his mind, subsided by his blind memories, and his final contribution of learning on his own now. He opened his sky blue eyes and seeing a glimmering Kyuubi floating slightly, with a ghoul behind her, a knife in its teeth. Shinigami-sama, the ghoul nodded. Kyuubi smiled sadly. I'm going to be trapped inside the stomach of this guy here. I hope you're happy from now on, Naruto-kun. You still need training, so get that arrow senin of yours to train you like he offered and promised. Naruto smiled and nodded. Thanks, Kyuubi-chan. I'll see you around. Kyuubi scoffed, shaking her head, knowing it would never come true. Yeah, see you when I come back from the dead. Live happily. And with that the ghoul took her soul, eating it. Naruto smiled. Say hi to my dad for me, okay? I just want him to know I love him. The figure nodded again before fading off. Naruto smiled and then closed his eyes and woke up. He opened his sky blue eyes for real, and Kakashi came upon this feature quickly. He saw the Kyuubi transformation once before, knowing whisker mark thickening and eye color changing. He saw that the whiskers were protruding now, meaning they were real, or at least still attached to his skin somehow, but now those eyes he saw were still the blue of his students, and smiled, knowing Naruto still had control. Although this change would mean he merged, or at least sucked everything from Kyuubi. Naruto awoke to find himself in a dimly marked ceiling, and felt a slightly uncomfortable mattress under him, and knew it must have been the hospital seeing how white the walls were even in the dark. He felt warmth though, unlike his other visits at the hospital, and warmth more soothing than his heart ever felt. He looked down over his body to see what the warmth was about, and saw a little girl with bluish brunette hair, face in his chest as she cried, her jacket holding the symbol of the Hyuga. He knew this girl, and smiled slightly, lifting a sore hand up to touch her hair. As soon as his hand landed on her, she gasped, tears still stuck to her cheeks as she looked wide-eyed at the genuine, kind smile Naruto was giving to her. She stared, but then remembered she was holding him. She blushed brightly before letting her head fall into his chest, wanting anything to keep herself from fainting from those bright, sweet blue eyes of his. Naruto smiled wider, a foxy grin he so wonderfully put on as he rubbed Hinata's blot of hair. He looked over, his neck giving him slight troubles, as his body felt heavy and hurt, like he knew he'd be after such an experience. He saw 3 others besides the normal medical personnel, and he smiled brightly at them. Gaara, with his passive, but slightly cheery face, glad to see his friend away, Naruto thought. Kakashi seeing on, calculating him, and he didn't exactly know why at this point, but he could practically smell hope and glee filled within Kakashi. The other set of eyes belonged to a very peaceful and sleeping Irika. Naruto lay still, looking down at the embarrassed Hinata, wondering what got her so flustered. He knew she was shy though, why else would she look away and hardly speak, almost with everyone, but even more so with him alone. It didn't hit him just yet though, how she always watched him from afar, admiring him like she did. Kakashi smiled at Naruto, seeing no Kyuubi in him, only influence outside for now. Gaara stood and walked up closer to his brother Jinchuriki. Glad to see you've awoken, Naruto-san. Mind telling us what happened with Kyuubi? Naruto looked up at Gaara with a little confusion. What would you mean, Gaara-san? Gaara looked towards Naruto's head, and Naruto looked up, raising his hand from Hinata's head to his head, and felt fuzzy, pointy, twitching ears on his head and felt pale. Naruto looked down, and saw half of the bed broken down to the floor, and his brand new tails holding him in the air. He still lay flat from his toes to his neck though, thankfully the middle part was all bent out of shape, but with Hinata's weight he could easily see he'd have a hard time staying up. He almost freaked as he found out Kyuubi had changed him like this, but held firm, not wanting a widespread panic right there in the hospital. Hinata was slightly disappointed in having Naruto's hand being removed from her head. She felt so warm from his touch. But at least she could still hold him in her arms, and smell his warmth covering her chest. She wanted to stay right there for a good amount of time before having to be removed. Naruto looked to Gaara, still slightly shocked. I guess when Kyuubi said she'd help me, she turned me into an immortal kitsune. But as much as I hate the fact this won't help me from the village or council, at least I have my friends. Gaara smiled, rare but warm in knowing he'd smile for his friends. You'll always have a friend in me, Naruto-san. Kakashi nodded his confirmation as well. Although Hinata didn't say anything, she shook her head deeper into his chest, muttering something about her feelings never changing, only growing. Naruto smiled and laid his hand on her head once more, rubbing his fingers on her smooth, silky scalp and through her straight locks. It took a few moments before Iruka woke up to find his former student awake and smiling again. He didn't right away notice anything as he smiled. Happy Naruto was alive and well. He took a few moments to wake up totally and find out about the new appendages. Before he could do anything though, Kakashi was speaking to him. Kakashi noticed a shifting Iruka and smiled, knowing it would take a few moments to notice from a Chunin's heavy sleep. Once he saw the panic though, he began. Naruto's eyes and smile are back to his face, nothing too much like the normal Kyuubi transformation. His whiskers are a little farther from his cheeks, but still as if they are attached. Other than that and the ears and tail, he's the same old Naruto, albeit a little taller and stronger. Iruka checked on Naruto once more, to see anything off the ordinary in personality and face. Facial expression, he checked to see Naruto's smiling, happy face, content with care and love, blue eyes gleaming perfectly. Naruto's back alright, he seems to still be okay after all the enduring he had to go through. Iruka smiled and stood, stretching lightly. Go Kakashi-kun, figure out what's going on with the Hokage and the council. I'll keep an eye on Naruto-san. Kakashi nodded, and vanished from view. Iruka and the others all talked and laughed, while Hinata blushed and tried her best not to faint from overload as Naruto touched her cheek and called her sweet for caring so much about him. She did not tell him anything yet, and he still didn't accumulate enough wisdom to see for himself, but he did see how much she cared and worried about him as she had cried, thus why he saw her eyes all puffy when he first regained his consciousness. Gaara was having a blast with his brother, wanting to know what happened, and also telling about how he helped Lee. Naruto was very impressed how there could be a guy who could use his own bones as a weapon. That sounded like a very useful ability. Kakashi, though, went to the council room, and found a desk being thrown at the window that was apparently behind him, as he ducked back like a knot in order to dodge. Once he felt safe nothing was going to hit him, he straightened his body back up, huffing in exertion from such an experience. He checked his surroundings really quick. The council were there, mostly looking at him now, but from their eyes were a little scared, when they were really scared earlier. Tsunade though was huffing in anger, but now pleading him for a report. Kakashi cleared his throat. "Well, I'm reporting in Naruto-san has recovered consciousness and is now speaking to his visitors." Tsunade was sighing in relief he was alive, but now was going to ask the final Jeopardy question. Is he influenced by the Kyuubi? Kakashi was prepared for this one though, and sighed in content. He is not. Naruto-san's Kyuubi transformation has broader, darker whisker marks, and red slits for eyes. Naruto-san's eyes are still peaceful and blue, although his whisker marks are now almost like, or are real whiskers. Not only that, but he has gained Kyuubi-like appearances, more together ears and 9 tails. His personality, though, is the same old Naruto. The council, though, saw it different. Danzu and Hamiura stood together. Danzu first talked his opinion. He's accumulated Kyuubi's chakra, thus, he has gained everything from the monster, and so, he is Kyuubi, he has been since birth. Hamiura followed. And so, we call my vote and Danzu's as execution. Hyuga's clashed in decision, and finally the head stood, Hayashi smiling. Hyuga votes against. Hinata has taken a liking to the boy, and also Naruto's heritage from the Whirlpool country is to be admired. It was no joke that the infamous Uzumakis were feared across the land. Tsukumo Haruno saw this as a curse. Voting for, we cannot have a whore's demon in our midst. Kushina was nothing more than a whore. She tried to seduce our yandame. That got Tsunade in a boil. You never insult a friend of Tsunade, or you pay the price. Kakashi took this chance to stop her, putting a hand on her shoulder, shaking his head. Tsunade growled in disappointment, looking out to continue. Inochi smiled as he stood. I for one, say this boy is nothing more than that, a boy who has been neglected by such ignorant people. He has done nothing against us, and more so for us, even after every insult and attempt on his life. Besides, I wanted to know everyone's opinion before I gave my own. Oh, Tsunade is going to love this. Inochi smirked. The council has overstepped its bounds. Our priorities are to keep peace in the village, and give opinions on things such as missions or if it is to deal with shinobis. Only shinobi clans should be given proof to traitorous acts, or missing/nuke needs. Tsunade grinned so wide, her smile seemed to split her face. Shikaka added himself. Hokage's personal council, and Danzo are allowed to vote on this, but it is not for Naruto-san, but now Uchiha-san. After that, half of the council left, and Danzo cursed most of this new board was comprised of non-biased people, thus, they would not step over Naruto. Sasuke holds the Sharingan, and thus important. He must be brought back within all limits of our village. Chuzo Akimichi stood quickly. No doubt that the Sharingan is a very capable Kekkei Genkai, but Sasuke has become a nuke nin. Killing off a fellow comrade is forbidden, or attacking one while escaping is considered such an offense. But there is already a Sharingan within this village, and the holder is in this room. Inochi once again came with a retort. Even with Kakashi on our side, and capable medic nins, the Sharingan may never again be within the village, and Orochimaru will gain it totally. We cannot allow the Uchiha clan survivors to use their knowledge of our forces against us, so I suggest we destroy the Uchiha altogether. Shikaka nodded. That's a wise choice, and because of Tsunade's skills we could always replicate the Sharingan to a specific group of people that are loyal to Konoha and the Hokage. Something controlled, because this time it wasn't so controlled. Tsunade had vote on this. The Sharingan will stay controlled as a one-eyed, one-person Kekkei Genkai. Or if it can be passed down for Kakashi, it shall be the new Hatake limit. That is the word on the Kekkei Genkai. As for the clan itself, until there is confirmed report of Sharingan offspring, this issue is closed. Everyone but Danzo agreed with that. After that was settled, Tsunade went over one more thing. Naruto is not the Kyuubi, and because of his family, he is in need of more strength to protect us. Besides, I recall I give him my succession once I forfeit or die from this position. Once again everyone agreed to this, and just then Jiraiya appeared. In order for him to grow, he will need to get away from this village. Inochi nodded his head. So you are to take him on a trip to train? Jiraiya nodded. Then we will not stop you, but may we ask where you are going to take him? Jiraiya thought a moment. First we'll travel the countryside, just working on his chakra control, seeing as he has little. After that we'll spread out to Kirigakure, or Sunagakure, depending on what his elements are. Soon after we'll travel to Takigakure, where I have a personal spy working through every village. He's more reliable than you'd think. Everyone nodded as Danzo went away. It would be a total loss if Naruto got away clean. Naruto will enter the gracious village of Takikagure. Naruto looked narrowly at the huge waterfall they had to enter by swimming through. It was going to be a very harsh year for him. Time skip. A gang of 7 boarded on the horizon, within the breeze of the cast shadow from surrounding trees. One girl in a black jacket and baggy pants, smirking lightly, strutting in wonderful confidence. This one spoke to the rest, and in a sly voice spoke, "So, it's been a year and a half, think those friends of yours will be surprised to see this?" A slightly shorter figure in grey kunoichi gown and pant, scoffed slightly, grinning like a Cheshire cat. He's probably remembered like a little kid to them. They're in for one surprise when they see this stud. 2 familiar faces looked at each other, smiling with love before laughing. Our son is going to roll the village around in wonder when we enter. I even bet Tsunade Orochi will jump from seeing him. A much taller man smiled wide, a single tail flowing behind him, and a very recognizable glint in his eyes. They will all be surprised, not to mention a certain girl who will want to check this out. Then the man smirked, so wide his face looked like it split in half as he growled in a low, rumbling and happy gesture. This sound had a few retorts, and actions following. The 2 lovers behind frowned, one thinking to hurt a certain toad in the pack as he watched in perverse happiness, and 2 very affected girls shuddering in mini-orgasmic flares, panting as they continued to lead the pack. The man-lover had the thought of concern, as if that sound kept being heard for too much longer, there would be pain, lots of pain. At Konohakagure. At the western post of Konoha sat the guards of the gate, sighing as they had little action that day, unbearably burning with agony as not one person came through that day, but soon to have a very impressive afternoon with their current arrivals. They got an order last week that someday they were going to receive a group of people coming to Konoha. The report said that they'd be consisted of 4 Konoha nin, 2 Taki nin, and 1 Kumo nin. They were slightly curious how Kumo was sending one of their ninja here, but got over it. It's been a week since the report came in, but now they saw a group of 7 coming up from the distance. They were waiting till they could get a closer look to be sure it was them, but knew it had to be. Once they were nearby the gate, they stopped, and saw one look up. "I'm back home, wonder how much it's changed." One guard checked them out. One was wearing a red jacket and a horn protector, and had white hair. Jiraiya to be sure, and they were glad he came back. He checked one of the girls and saw a black-cloaked figure with blonde hair, and 2 bangs going back like horns, with a mark on her neck showing the traditional ANBU mark of loyalty. 2 girls stood next to a seemingly tall blonde, much like the Yondaime Hokage, but with an orange cloak with black flames, with a rather sleek katana on his back, plus a foxtail and ears. The girls, however, were not so much a sight. One being in a Kumo kunoichi garb, and had a long twisted ponytail, with blonde hair, had to be the Kumo nin, they reported. The other girl, however, had a considerably long torso, and a slightly revealing garb. White tank with red scarf holdings and a scroll pack on her back in the holdings, and white kunoichi skirt shorts. The other 2 caught both of their attentions. In a white jacket with red flames, and long, unruly blonde hair stood the former Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Beside him, and wrapped on his arm, stood the notorious, infamous Kushina Uzumaki. They gawked for what seemed like hours, and in only a minute from the gawking the 7 went inside, knowing they were being expected. Naruto, though, stopped for a second and smiled. "Hey Tusan, mind if I see if your seals still work?" Minato smiled a little, and in seconds everyone was touching Naruto, and in some way was connected to him through one of the others. Naruto closed his eyes, and in a flash of yellow, they disappeared. Inside the Hokage tower sat Tsunade, laying flat against her desk in frustration. Ever since the Naruto incident in the council, the members have been putting out every loophole in order to regain their power. Once a month there would be another loophole being found, and every single day Shikaku would explain reasons around those loopholes, and Tsunade was very, very grateful for it all. She looked around, and not noticing any sign of visitors, or even sensing Shizen around the bend, she smirked, and pulled out some of her special sake, and just before she could pour herself some good old elixir. Yellow swept past the windows and walls, and in a second, stood 7 people near the bookcase. One walked to the bookcase and grabbed a book, opening it and grabbing a kunai. "I thought it was still here. Nice job, Naruto." Little to Minato, he didn't see the actions following the burst of yellow. He turned around and saw 3 things going on. A very flustered Tsunade was holding her arms high, as if to smash up some enemy ninja, accidentally planting her lips against Yujito's as the kunoichi tried to block whatever punch came rushing by. Jiraiya gawking like a madman before fainting, and Kushina and Naruto both grinning ear to ear, side to side, crossing their arms in a proud standing gesture. "Oh boy." Tsunade stepped back away, shaking, and bright red all over as a very pale kunoichi that was within those lips, suddenly fainted cold. The black-cloaked girl with blonde dreads shrugged before smiling. "Hokage-sama, we're here for our appointment. Naruto's back and so is Jiraiya, and 2 others you'll be surprised to know are back." Tsunade didn't look, but decided to go and sit down, turning her chair and sat down with her back to them, not wanting everyone to see. Report she could hardly speak right, clearing her throat didn't help the embarrassment in her voice. Kushina giggled uncontrollably. "White Tsuchichi, glad to see you're still as feisty as ever?" Tsunade's embarrassment turned into shock. Only one person ever called her that, and only one other knew about it, and those 2 were Naruto's parents. "Wait, please tell me I drank my sake and fainted cold on the jobi. Don't want this particular person to be who I think." Tsunade turns and sees Naruto, Kushina, Minato all standing there with a smile. Naruto spoke first. "What's the matter, Bachan? Looks like you've seen a ghost." Kushina giggled as Minato looked slightly worried. Jiraiya and Tsunade did request they be his godparents, but Tsunade never was one to be told how old she was. Tsunade shook herself back to reality for a second and gasped. "Is it really you? Kushina-kun?" Tsunade jumped back up and ran over to the tomboyish girl, hugging each other, and with fits of strength, picked one another up every now and again. Kushina was smiling wider as Tsunade put her down once more, and they pulled back a little to get a good look. "It's been ages, Kushina, how've you been?" Kushina nicked the Hokage's cheek a little with her nails. "Fine, but recently very pissed off at this village for their fucking lies, and now I see your Hokage just like your father's, and your necklace predicted. Hopefully you're making this a better place, or I'd have Minato massacre the evil of this place." Minato chuckled in very careful worry. "Please, I was once Hokage. I even protected this place from Kyuubi, and even then the Uchiha are really a pain in the ass about such things." Tsunade giggled a little, brushing up the blood from her new wound. "Well, it's still as crazy now as it was then, if not crazier. The council overstepped bounds, and is trying to find their power once more. If it wasn't for Inochi and Shikaku, Naruto would have been banished or worse, just because he failed to bring a renegade Uchiha back." Minato had to hold Kushina down as she tried to storm out in rage. After a few concessions, hellos, and both the unconscious people on the floor waking up, Tsunade had them all sit down so they could get on with the report. Tsunade sighed as she sat back down, and got her sake again. Kushina understood it was a serious moment, and Tsunade might really need the downer for her nerves. Hell, it's not every day you get to meet an old friend, and someone being brought back from the dead. Tsunade sighed as she downed a saucer of sake. Alright Jiraiya, report, how's Naruto-kun's progress? Jiraiya smiled a little. If I had to be serious about his skills, he'd make you and me combined look like freshly promoted jounin. Not only that, but he's quite the master when it comes to almost every ninja skill imaginable. Tsunade chuckled a little, nervous. Okay, I'm going to make this a short visit, so I can catch up on some old friends, and see about where to put everyone. Naruto, I need you to tell me everything you're good at. Naruto nodded and sat back, preparing to tell her everything that needed to be said, and nothing more. Tsunade gulped down one more saucer, waiting for the report. Naruto took a deep breath. I have a collection of ninjutsu, ranging from genin level to A and BU level. I've mastered the Rasengan without shadow clones, and even created 2 types of elemental Rasengan, one being Futon and another being Raiden. My taijutsu should be on par with both Guy and Lee combined if Lee ever got any better, which being the student of Bushibrao Sensei I'd say yes. My genjutsu isn't too good, never was at it, but I have managed to learn how to hide my fox features without genjutsu masters knowing I'm hiding them. My kenjutsu is about as high as it can get for me, considering I can beat my own Kasen now. Kushin smiled proudly. Considering he comes from my clan and Minato-kun's talent, it's a wonder why he wasn't half this strong when he first trained with me. Tsunade nodded. Minato had the most talent out of all ninja, and it passed down to his son, as too for Kushina. Her strength and clan's abilities for endless progress would make anybody become a ninja as great as the Kages of any village. Tsunade sighed, writing it all down. It would seem in skills you're at least Kage level. How about chakra capacity and control? Naruto smirked wide as Minato did. Capacity? Infinite, there is no end to it thanks to the Kyuubi's power merging into my own. As for control? No need for it because of my chakra being unlimited, but I'm at least high jounin with it. Tsunade nodded. She threw the saucer away and drank half of the bottle right there. I need a day off, Minato chuckled. Why not use Kage Bunshin? I always got everything done because of it. It even enabled me to get rid of paperwork in a swift blow. Tsunade's head crashed onto the desk. Everyone laughed at her misfortune and not realizing it. Minato stopped for a moment before telling her one more thing. Don't give me any credit. It was Kushina-chan who told me that in the first place. Kushina grinned wide with pride. Tsunade sat back up with a small smile. Well, who's everyone here? I never did get the names of these visitors. Naruto raised a hand to the 3 girls beside him and Jiraiya. The one in white here is Baikiju-chan, also known as the Shichibi no Jinchuriki. Tsunade gawked at the girl. Another demon container in Konoha? Is the Takikage mad? Baikiju shook her head. Not at all, it was my friend's orders that told him I'd be safe if I was with Naruto-kun. The blonde-horned girl smirked as she turned slightly. My name is Larxene, and I taught Naruto weapons precision and taught him how to use his right-on element. Tsunade nodded, seeing as Naruto said he made a right-on Rasengan. So he had Raiden. I thought he'd have Futon as his main project. Minato chuckled slightly. He does, I taught him to use it. He just has more use out of his right-on than his Futon. Tsunade nodded, smiling as she sat back. Well, we'll have to see the skills he has. I'll find an opponent suitable for each skill he has, and we'll all see it. Now why don't you and Jiraiya get going, Naruto? Naruto nodded and got up. He started to walk but stopped and smiled as he turned around. Just a second, you can come out now, you two. Just as he said that, his tail reached up. You sure, Naruto-kun? Naruto nodded, and he was covered in a poof of smoke, and there standing beside him stood a woman with long blood-red hair and in a red kimono, and a large weapon on her back, and on his other side stood a man that could put the Naras to shame in laziness with a black headband with a gold medallion around his neck, a tight black shirt, and slim pants to his ankles. Naruto grinned wide. The girl here is Kyuubi-chan. Kyuubi nodded and bowed. I humbly ask for some time, Hokage-sama. Tsunade was shaking, smiling nervously. Sure, as long as you don't attack, she spoke through her teeth, clenching as she was about to either attack or run. Kyuubi giggled a little, as the other scoffed. She's as weak as a genin, newly graduated genin. Naruto pointed to the man beside him. And this is Haikun. Haikyulanjin. Naruto turned. Well, Ba-chan, I'll be on my way. Tsunade nodded again, drinking the last of her bottle and getting another one, groaning as the two left the room. Well, I guess first things first. Introductions are pretty much gone over. So, Larxene was it? What's your rank in Taki? Larxene smiled and pulled out a card. ANBU Captain. Tsunade was looking at that card carefully. And your skills besides Raiten and weapons? Larxene turned, and in her other hand she clenched into a fist, and what appeared that was not there before were 3 yellow kunai. Using my right un, I can create my own kunai. No need for a pouch to carry. I also have the ability to look into other people's memories and torture them, or make them do whatever I desire. With that final skill, she grinned rather evilly. This card represents a memory from you, and it includes a certain brunette just 10 days ago. In a second, Tsunade went from nervous to totally flush and embarrassed. You're lying. Larxene giggled, grinning even more so. What do you think? I believe the words used were eat it, and don't stop until I scream. Tsunade gone from red to crimson. Death, I'll kill you. Minato held Tsunade down. Wait. Don't, she's only playing around. She's just like Enko. Tsunade grumbled as she tried to break free. After much struggle, she decided to just sit back down. Give it back, you bitch. Larxene smiled truly. I'm only showing you it's a real skill. Just be glad I'm sensitive about this stuff and didn't reveal the true words you used. Tsunade nodded. And as for you, Baikiju, your skills and rank? Jounin and scroll techniques, along with futon. She just wanted to go and meet with Naruto-kun for a while, and maybe get him alone for something else. Tsunade sighed and drank her whole bottle. What's your name, Kumo-san? Yujito sighed and stood, bowing in respect. The Reikage wishes for an alliance, and sent me as a trade-off, a ninja for peace. Yujito ni, the Niabai no Jinchuriki. Tsunade's head crashed. 3 containers in Konoha. What am I going to do with the council? Streets of Konoha. Naruto and Jiraiya were walking down the street, both looking around at the changes. The only thing I have seen changed is the mountain. Jiraiya looked back to see what Naruto was talking about, and smiled. Tsunade had her mug planted on the side, right by the 4th. Guess you're right, Naruto. So what's on your to-do list? Naruto stopped, crossing his arms, and thought. You know, I never really thought about that. I've got Niji, also maybe Kiba, not to mention Shikamaru. I guess I'll take leave first. Naruto started to walk again, still deep in thought. He'd either be on a mission or training somewhere. I mean, he's a freak when it comes to his taijutsu. Then again, he could have calmed down while I was away. Hey Erosenin, why don't you check up on Bachan? I'll be fine until I see a few people. Jiraiya looked hard at the passively standing Naruto. Jiraiya knew a few kryptonites to Naruto's super powerful personality. One being a pinky with an anger problem, number 2 happened to be his former teammate, and somehow still best friend, and last one was a certain blue-headed girl from a house of arrogance, in which she was not appreciated for her good self. Jiraiya sighed and shook his head down, smiling lightly. Yeah. Just summon up a toad and send me a message if you need anything. Naruto nodded before going through town. In the Hokage office. Wakey Tsuchichi, did you finally snap from all this? I thought you'd have snapped with Larxene, not with Haikun. Since the two left, Tsunade had been very much in hell. Baikiju was reading from the bookcase, and Kami she loved to read, while Yujito and Larxene exchanged glares. The 2 containers were done with, nothing much, but apparently Baikiju was a very valuable kunoichi to have around in group combat situations. Yujito, on the other hand, was a loner who didn't much care for a team, and her demon made sure that if anyone was to survive, Yujito needed to be alone. Tsunade decided Yujito would stay out of combat until something came up, as Baikiju gone through with the replacement for Naruto's team. Tsunade cursed, as that would be very much impossible if Naruto was the only one in it, so she had to put in a new member, or return Sakura, who has been bumped down to civilian status thanks to her traitorous intentions. Larxene was still currently a Takinin and ANBU captain. Her primary mission is to keep watch over Baikiju, but since she needed a verified reason to stay for an undetermined amount of time was to have a mission. She'd have to figure something out, but until then, she'd coordinate with her own ANBU units with specialized missions. Kyuubi was going to have a civilian status presented to her, and since she seemed to be wronged in her attack, she'd have a very valuable sum of money to start her off. That left her with Hai. She asked him what his rank was, and when he said civilian, she wanted to know why he was here. He told her he was here to help teach the Chunin proper genjutsu. It was a horrible hell of a conversation. It was like talking to at least 100 shikakus. It was a quick conversation, of course, since Tsunade fainted from having her brain implode on itself. If you're a civilian, you shouldn't be teaching ninja anything. I'm too powerful to be ranked. I'm more powerful than a Kage, in fact. It's just I don't want the job. But if you're as powerful as a Kage, then shouldn't you be a ninja to protect the village? That's why I'm a civilian. I never leave the village, and if any threats come along, I just take care of them. Then why are you here? Orders by the Tsuchikage and my best friend to help the incoming danger to Konoha. The Akatsuki are going to be dealt with, without you. Wrong, half of the village would be dead if Naruto never came to Takigakure. Then if Naruto is powerful now, there is nothing for you to do. Think again, there's going to be more danger than just the Akatsuki, There's going to be an all-out war with the Wagakure and the newly formed Yuzugakure. Yuzugakure? Whirlpool has a country? It's where an Uchiha was cited to be the Kage of the village, and it's just between Iwa and AIM. Sasuke escaped from Orochimaru's grasp? No, this one is an unidentified Uchiha, a wooden mask covering most of his face, and only the right Sharingan eye is visible. Then we have 3 renegade Uchiha. Again wrong, but then again you'll find that out from Minato-sama. That was it before Tsunade slammed against her desk and fainted. It was a wonder she lasted so long. Back to the real world, Hai was asleep in his chair, and Minato was waiting for Kushina to wake up Tsunade. Jiraiya came by again to see everything going on and was on the ground in shock. Minato laughed as he turned around. I knew you'd be back in time for the fireworks to end. How's my son? Jiraiya got up, groaning before smiling at his former student. He's fine, a little out of it from self-esteem issues, but with a few friendly visits around the village, he'll have his true smile back. Jiraiya gone up to Tsunade and smiled. Hey Tsu-chan. I'm gonna go peep on the hot springs. As expected, he got punched into the wall opposite of the windows outside, and fainted with a dumb grin on his face. Tsunade first was enraged, as always from the pervert's actions, but then turned curious before groaning and laying her head down. I'm an awful person. Kushina laid a hand on the woman's shoulder. No, you're not. You did what you usually do with Erosenin, and he deserves it for his peeping. Besides, he knows you care. Tsunade looked up and smiled sadly to her buddy. Thanks, Kushina-kun. Now it's only you 3. The rest of you can go now. Larkseen to the ANBU unit at the western gate. The rest of you explore, I guess. Tsunade drank her 4th bottle of sake and groaned. I put this off because as Hokage I need to stay calm. Minato is dead. I was hoping I was asleep. Is this a genjutsu? Kushina laughed as Minato hung his head. You would think I'd get a hello without someone complaining that I'm alive. Tsunade shook her head. Sorry, it's hard to believe that after a sealing that killed you and Sensei, you'd be alive. Kushina grinned widely. You should know Minato a little better than that. Unlike me, a thick-headed talent from a used-to-be-destroyed country, Minato is a genius who could take on all the Naras in shogi and win every match. Tsunade smiled nervously. I'm a little drunk, so I forgot. Sorry, Minato, mind telling me how you did it? Minato sighed as he accepted the apology, and thought how to say this carefully. I died, simple as that, but before I sealed the Kyuubi within my own sun, I made a seal on my own soul, a special seal that only when my physical body died, I would stay alive. I've been watching over Konoha for every single day. Until the Chunin exams, that is, because suddenly I felt my soul being pulled to a new body, and was summoned. It was because of the Edo Tensei. Orochimaru failed to bring me through though, thanks to Gigi-san. He didn't know though that I would have helped him, so he stopped my coming back. But after that failed, I was pulled to Takigakure, and was summoned by another person. I agreed to him not to tell his name to you, but I can say he'll be here someday. But anyway, I activated my seal and here I am. Tsunade chuckled. Well, that explains Jiraiya speaking about you in present tense after I came back. Minato nodded and looked back. Yo Erosenin, wake up or I'll use the Senin Gorishur on you. Jiraiya screamed and clinged to the wall with his butt, looking around panicking the entire time. They all laughed at him before Kushina interrupted. Erosenin, we're playing around, we needed you awake, but then she popped her knuckles. But if you ever peep on any more girls, I'll use that move on you, no kidding, with my katana. Jiraiya sighed in defeat, but smiled inwardly. He had changed now, and wanted at least some closure to his past before he died. He's killed without regards, he's seen a war that got so bloody he wanted out, he even trained a 3-person team from Rain to help defend themselves, and saw a lot of bad in the world. He even seen what happens when you complete the Toad contract to the fullest. It was a horrible life, and he even had to battle his teammate, and would have to kill his old friend later. He had to at least give Tsunade a gift of his goodwill of some sort to have her smile at him one more time before he went out with a blaze years or months later. Tsunade gulped down another bottle, sighing as she finally has a reason to have a day off. Minato gets revived in Tsuchi. Kushina was there in the first place, and guests. I guess that means we're done here. I need a good nap before I'm better. Minato understood and walked out with his wife, Jiraiya staying in the office still. Tsunade-chan, I know this is a lot to take in, and I'm sorry for everything being complicated for my return. Tsunade looked weirdly at Jiraiya before pulling out 2 more bottles. You always were one to make a big splash when you entered the pool, but at least I get to see my godson grown, and my 2 friends alive, well, and happy. As for you, Jiraiya, I'm surprised to see this side of you. I've known you to be like this when you're serious, but you were always a joker. What makes you so serious now? Jiraiya smiled, chuckling under his breath. I just want to say I'm sorry for what I've done in the past. He grabbed the offered bottle. Still friends? Jiraiya knew they were on rocky friendship terms, especially since the Peeping Hot Springs incident where he almost died, but a rocky relationship or a good one, he knew deep down they were always friends. Tsunade, on the other hand, knew he was a great guy, albeit a little on the insane side if she had to put a word to it, but still he had the sparkle in him to make her smile every once in a while. They clinged their bottles together as she finished his question. Friends, you old perv. They shared a little laugh before downing the bottles. Near the stadium, Naruto was looking around town still, seeing if he can't remember his way through the streets. After a while he came up to the Amigurumi, and smiled as he saw a brown jacket and fishnet shirt wearing Snake Mistress. He walked over to the contents sweet eater and waved. Yo, Anko-san. Anko turned with the stick of dumplings in her mouth, still chewing on the second one. She gulped it down and smiled wickedly, and Naruto knew he didn't like that smile. Well, how do I know a handsome guy like yourself? Naruto chuckled nervously at this as she had a very nasty gleam in her eyes. You cut my cheek in the Chunin exams a few years ago. Anko tried to recall, but the only one she could think of was a little blonde-haired Czech, a little longer than back where blue-eyed exactly orange jumpsuited little brat. She looked at this man real good before her eyes widened. You're the little kid whose blood I tasted when Orochimaru attacked? Naruto grinned and pointed to himself. The one and only Naruto Uzumaki. She did a double take on this hunk of a man. She was shaken a bit while checking him out, noticing things he's got almost every single feature of the yondaime. Why didn't I notice this before? She remembered that face back then, and compared it to only one other Kushina Uzumaki. Uzumaki Naruto Uzumaki, Kushina Uzumaki, the personality of his mother, and the devilish good looks of his father. I guess having my sensei betray me and return that day made me less noticing. Though she was shocked to finally see the light of this, she smiled a little and ate her last dumpling. So Naruto, I guess if you're back that means your training is done with. Hopefully that arobaka of a sensei didn't rub off on you. Naruto gave up his grin once more, foxy and wonderful as always. Nope, it was me who rubbed off on him. He has yet to peep on any girl for at least 5 months. Anko laughed at that before drinking up some of her sweet red bean soup. Glad to know I won't have to send my snakes out for someone as useless as he is. Naruto's grin faded. He wasn't completely useless. He did teach me several jutsu, and also taught me how to wisen up. Anko looked carefully, and saw this was a serious side of that little boy. He's a pervert, but being a sannin means he knows how to be a great ninja. You have to be smart, and wise about everything. Too bad I'm not such a great ninja. Naruto walked up to the mistress and sat down beside her. Orochimaru was a snake, not a snake summoner. He was a traitor of himself, and not even Sanjiji could see or stop it in time. Don't blame yourself for it, Anko-san. Anko shook her head, wincing eyes and gritted teeth as she tried to look away from Naruto, not wanting to have someone give her any pity. I don't need ID, I should have done something. Naruto took this chance to get back up, leaving a few coins on the seat before starting to walk away. As he got a little ways off he stopped, and Anko glanced at him, wondering why the sudden heavy foot. Orochimaru will die, and you will do it. But if you kill your former sensei, will you ever truly be happy alone? Take a moment, forget the past and your revenge, take today and tomorrow off from your personal grudge, and find a good friend, someone to help you when the going gets tough and someone to see you without that mask of sadistic pleasure. And with that, he walked away. Anko looked closely at the coins after Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash. What does he know? He never had his sensei betray him, he never had his hopes dashed away, and he never had people deny hi there it was. She remembered he was always being treated badly, shunned or holding the Kyuubi. People always dashed him and the entire village betrayed him. She grabbed the coins and looked at them for a while. Enough to buy 2 sticks. Enough to have a friend enjoy my sweets with me. After a moment she smiled and put the coins away for later, and got up. She was going to search out the only person she could call friend, one mistress talking to another. At Ichiraku Ramen. Iruka was eating his daily ramen lunch, as usual ever since Naruto entered the academy. This time though, he felt like having more than the usual 2 bowls, and knew it would drain his pouch until his next pay, but he felt a little good today that something might happen, and he knew it had to be good because he's been smiling all day. Another bowl, Tsuchi. The owner smiled. Something happened to eat a third one today, Iruka-kun? I don't have a clue, I just feel like something good will happen today. Give me a miso, make it 2, old man. A few coins were caught by Ayame as she was tossed them by what appeared to be the yondaime Hokage. Iruka looked behind him to see a fox-like grin, whisker-like marks, and unruly blonde hair. Naruto, is that you? Naruto turned his face with a look of mock hurt. Of course it's me, Iruka-sensei. Who else comes here with such enthusiasm? Iruka chuckled lightly and offered Naruto a seat. So you're back. I suppose that means your training went well with Jiraiya? Ayame gave the 2 fresh bowls that Tsuchi made for them in a quick jiffy. Ayam blushed as she took a glance at Naruto and got back to work in the kitchen. Iruka and Naruto synced as they grabbed the sticks, opened the packages, and clapped their hands together. Itadakimasu. Together they took that first slurp and looked at each other with noodles in their mouths with a friendly look. It took them half of the bowl each to finally talk. So Iruka-sensei, how's the class been while I was away? Iruka gulped down one more slurp before sighing. It's pretty much routine, Naruto. To tell you the truth, your antics always brightened up my day. I'm hoping another knucklehead makes it through the class, but nothing will ever replace you, Naruto. Naruto gave Iruka a pat on the back. Arigato, sensei. Have you seen Lee around today? I've been trying to find him all morning. Iruka gave a thoughtful look, trying to remember the eyebrows and bowl cut of youth, but came up short. Sorry, Naruto, last I remember of him he was at the training field with his team a week ago. Mission or training, but I haven't seen them since then. Naruto grinned at his sensei. So his leg and arm are good as new. That's good. Did he manage to make Chunin while I was away? Iruka nodded. So did Niji and Tenten, not to mention most of the rookie 9. Team Asuma and also Shino managed as well. Kiba and Hinata are still genin though. Naruto looked down at his mostly empty bowl with a little gloom of sadness. Hinata didn't make it while I was gone? Iruka looked away from Naruto, answering the blonde in a way. After a while though, Iruka smiled. You know, Naruto, she made it to the final rounds every time while you were away, but she's been preoccupied with the head family's problems so she couldn't concentrate on the exams, but she'll manage. Especially since you're back. Naruto grinned for a second before finishing his bowl. Yeah, I'll get her back on track. I heard the exams are gonna be hosted here in a week, so I'll help train her while I'm here. Iruka nodded. So Naruto, think I'll see you by the academy? I could really use some help with spicing up my lectures. Naruto laughed through his special smile. Sure thing, Iruka-sensei. I'll have to drop by tomorrow before I find Hinata, that way I'll be ready to show up at Tsunade's little test for my skills. Knowing her, I'll have a rest before I'm put into an extravaganza. Iruka nodded a little, chowing down the rest of the bowl. Yes, she gets pretty eccentric when it comes to you. I asked her a month ago if she had any word on you. She was about ready to bash out of the office just to search for you. Naruto laughed as Tsuchi came back. He heard and bellowed into the act as well. That sounds like her alright. So Naruto, have any ramen on the outside? Naruto looked ready to fight as he stood up. Are you kidding? Ichiraku is the only ramen shop to serve me. No other can make ramen like you do, old man. Tsuchi bellowed in a howling laughter, as Iruka did as well. That's the Naruto I know and love. Same old knucklehead, but wiser than me now. After a few laughs and Naruto getting a free bowl for his return, he got up and set down a few dozen coins. Here, on me today, Iruka-sensei, anything left goes in your pocket. Iruka gave Naruto a good look over, and that made Naruto laugh. Consider it repaying my debt to you always treating me, Iruka-sensei. I was always so mean to your pockets, so I guess I should let you use my credit until you bring up the old bank account. Iruka smiled as he seen Naruto turn to leave. Thanks, Naruto, I'll see you tomorrow. Naruto nodded his way before looking to Tsuchi, and now I am who were waving at him. See you two later. And I didn't know you could get any more beautiful. I envy the guy who marries you. He then suddenly left before anything could get out of hand. Iruka gawked at where Naruto once was, thinking maybe Jiraiya rubbed off on Naruto, or he just started to notice girls. Tsuchi frowned a little before smiling, knowing Naruto was just being nice. Ayam on the other hand meeped and blushed red, looking down as she tried to comprehend that Naruto called her beautiful. Naruto on the other hand smiled ear to ear. I think I laid that on a little thick. My mates need to love me back or I'll never live happily. He walked down the street again, looking for anyone he knew that could tell him where Lee was. He really needed to talk to the green taijutsu master. Although her was nowhere near the green beast of Konoha, he did find himself heading straight to another comrade. Shikamaru and Temari were walking through the crowded streets of Konoha, and this surprised Naruto a little bit. He walked into their path and smiled. Hey, Shikamaru, long time no see. Shikamaru looked at Naruto, not noticing it for a while before he saw that wily grin and whiskers, plus the mop of spiky blonde grass on his head. Naruto. Glad to see you back in the village? Temari did another take though. This is the squirt? He's sure grown since last time I seen him in Suna. Naruto fired Shikamaru. Yeah, glad to be home. So I see you've gotten pretty strong while I was away. Shikamaru scoffed, smiling as he looked the other way. Troublesome, but you were the only one training this whole time, did you? Naruto chuckled with his foxy grin still in place. Course not, just making sure you don't slack off, you slug. Shikamaru planted a mock punch against Naruto's shoulder. Get out of here. Anyway, I've got to be going. Being the guide for the Sand Ambassador here for the Chunin exams sure is a pain. Naruto looked over. Nice to see you again, Temari. He thought on it for a moment. Sand Ambassador? When did you get the promotion? Temari smiled proudly. Me and Kankuro each got to be Jounin just a month ago, after Gaara became the Kazekage. Naruto face dropped. You're telling me he got to be Kazekage? Wow. That's really something. Temari nodded. And he's changed for the better. He's always helping out no matter what, and we all have you to thank for it. Kage scratched his nose, grinning as he wondered what he ever did. Well, you're welcome, but really I didn't do anything. Unless showing him friendship got him to calm down. Temari nodded, telling him that was it. Naruto watched them walk away from their duties. See you guys later. But in a second he ran back towards them. Wait. Did you happen to see Fuzzy Brows around the village recently? Shikamaru wondered what this was all about but nodded, before thinking about it. Last I checked he and Sakura were at Ino's. Checked the flower shop for anything just in case they left a while ago. Naruto thanked him before running off. Troublesome. Yamanaka flower shop. Wah-ya! The girlish shriek from the apparently scared blonde behind the counter seemed to resonate across Konoha. Inochi came crashing down the stairs from the upper room to see Ino in a scared trance, and in the middle of the room where a pillar stood, was a rather dumb-looking blonde, who crashed into the pillar and was currently off the ground, AMS and legs out forward like iron bars, but not too unmoving as the fingers moved as if trying to grab something. Inochi walked around as Ino was still slightly scared of who it could be. Maybe a stalker pervert. Inochi, her father, laughed though. Why if it isn't Naruto? Did you get back just now? Naruto though responded by falling backwards, and when Inochi bellowed, Ino knew it must have been a really funny but bashed-in face. It was true too. Naruto had a tooth loose and starry eyes, and a huge red mark down his face. Inochi helped Naruto up, as he reorientated himself. Sorry Yamanaka-san, I was in a hurry. Inochi nodded. No problem, what can I do you for? Ino sighed as it was okay now, and smiled as she recognized Naruto and then stood wide-eyed at how much he changed. He's handsome. Not to mention his hot bod, I can see it through his tight shirt. She didn't realize she licked her lips, but then again no one knew it. Naruto though finally spoke. Well, I was looking for Lee-san, but I guess he left here. Ino was by him in a second. I know where he is, I'll take you to him. Inochi looked at his daughter a little curious why she was so excited. Well, be a good friend and show him where the two lovers went. Naruto looked at Inochi. So she noticed Lee-san, huh? Well, at least they're happy if you say that. Inochi nodded. Ino though was a little impatient for time with the hunky blonde and grabbed his arm, pulling him out. No time! Naruto found himself running and almost tripping by Ino's rush, but because of her hold he stayed on his feet. She ran with him for a good minute before starting to slow down, and making sure she got a hold on his arm, and she had to admit it was as if this biceps were sculpted by Kami himself. Rugged, jagged as his muscles rippled under her grasp, just the movement of one muscle sent shivers down her spine, and the size was perfect, not overly too huge to move, or too little to never lift a weight again, but just right, not just right, but perfect. Naruto found her smiling, a slight blush under her ears at the side of his vision, and just accepted her walking him to Rock Lee before she went her way. Although he knew it was more, because she kept getting tighter on him, and closer too as she felt his arm up, but not all. Another hand seemed to resonate just to above his ass, and only got lower as it started from the top of his spine. He was really thankful for the running start, because if they hadn't seen Sakura and Lee sitting in a small clearing near the training fields, he swore Ino would have done something he really didn't want. He did feel guilty that Ino looked gloomy because she made it here so fast, but he was sure it was nothing she wouldn't get over. Sakura had seen them first, smiling a little bit, her eyes baggy and tiresome. Hello Ino-san. Nice to see you again so soon. Who might this be? Ino grinned instantly. Naruto though thought with a smile. They must have made up while I was away. Ino held tighter to Naruto. This here's Naruto. He just got back. That didn't sit well, as Sakura looked him over once before looking away, and towards Lee who heard this and looked too. Sakura though didn't want any conversation right now. Sorry Lee-kun, I'll meet you tomorrow. I've got somewhere to be. She set down her flowers and started to run away. Lee understood, seeing as she had a rough history with Naruto. He looked back. Hello Naruto-kun, it's a pleasure to see you well. Back for good I hope? Naruto nodded, trying to get out of Ino's grip somehow without Lee noticing his trouble. Yeah, I'm here to stay. So you're Sakura's boy now, huh? Well, good for you. Lee stood, saluting Naruto with a gleaming smile. Thank you Naruto-san. When you left, 1 month later she gave me a date. And ever since we've been a couple. Naruto nodded. So do you two go on missions together? Lee dropped his arm a little, and his smile faded for a second. Didn't you hear? Sakura's been dropped as a ninja. She's just a civilian now. Naruto looked dumbfounded. You're kidding. Why was she dropped as a ninja? Lee looked down a little. Rumor has it she attempted to commit treason. I've only heard rumors, but apparently she tried to kill you, Naruto-kun. Naruto tried to think when she tried. The only time would have been when Kakashi brought him back. He knew her anger at him was strong enough, but not keeping his promise must have set her off. Kakashi must have saved him then. Well, now I guess she's so guilty she wants nothing to do with me. At least this way she thinks she's giving me peace. His serious thoughts still were kept to himself. She tried to kill me, she beat me up every day. It's a wonder she's not dead because of the crime. But I do feel sympathy. I mean, her mother must have tried to dump me by making her daughter hate me. Still, it doesn't give her the right, so I'll just stay away from the bitch apparently. Lee saluted once more. It was good to see you again, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled before pulling his arm out of Ino's grasp, who found a new hobby of holding onto him from behind. Naruto held out his hand, and Lee took it. Good to see you too, Lee-san. I'll see you around, okay? I just wanted to see if you were okay, seeing as Gar-san did a number on you in the Chunin exams that one time. Lee nodded, understanding before walking away. Naruto then proceeded to try and rip Ino off of him. Hey Ino-san, what's with you? Why are you holding on to me like this? Ino giggled. Because I think I love you, Naruto-kun. Naruto then panicked. What's with you? He tried to push her off, and yet she had the strength to stay on. Ino! You don't love me! You and Sakura always fought for Sasuke-san before. Ino giggled still, trying to keep her hold on the hunky Naruto. So what? Can't people change, Naruto? I mean, Sakura-san and me stopped fighting, and she gone to Lee-san. She had a point, but Sakura still had hard feelings, which means Ino might only go for hunks, or prodigy students. He even heard she tried to hook Neji once. That made him realize it real quick. Get off, Ino, pig. That made her fall on her but a foot away, but Naruto was standing over her, with a really mean look. You tried to seduce Sasuke, you tried to seduce Neji, and then Sasuke again. I bet you tried Neji a few more times, and now you're on me. Ino, pig. You only look at the outside, you even diet and polish yourself to look beautiful. Beauty is only skin deep to you. To me, beauty is bone deep. I once thought Sakura to be beautiful, and thought she could change to like me, but no, apparently she tries to kill me. Once I even tried to see about Tenten, but she turned me down because of Neji. But then again, she loved Neji just because of him, not because of who he was, or what he looked like. I'm looking for someone to love that will love me back for who I am on the inside, not the outside. So Ino, pig, please screw some other brainless dolt. He turned and left Ino in the mud, wallowing in her pity and her feelings being broken. Inochi saw the whole thing, and knew his daughter was a little crazy about looks, but didn't want her to be raised like a piece of scum, so he tried to make her feel better about her looks, and apparently she took it too far. He only wished he had tried earlier to change it all. At the Namikaze estates. In a large cottage nearby to the Hyuga, Naruto found his father's house, and at the gate stood his parents. He walked up and they each wrapped an around him as they walked inside their home. Naruto sighed as he opened the door. I had a rather eventful day. First I find Shikamaru-san and Temari-chan walking around, I then see Sakura and Lee-san together, and Ino tried to rape me. Minato's face dropped as his mother grinned. Funny, Minato was always threatened with girls raping him. It was mostly thanks to me he even got away with his element intact. Minato laughed at that. That was after you agreed to help the village. I mostly got away thanks to the Hirishin. This time they all laughed. After they ate dinner and Naruto got into his father's vault for some more jutsu training, they decided to call it a night. Naruto heard the screams from the other room and grinned. Not having the time for it till now, I'm surprised they lasted so long. Jiraiya-sensei, you owe me a few bowls of ramen. Ha ha. He did manage to get to sleep though, and was dreaming about what he'd do in the skills evaluation Tsunade would give him tomorrow. Training Field 7. Tsunade stood close by as she and some others stood within the trees. Jiraiya, Minato, Kushina and Shizen too. Naruto stood inside a clearing, where a few people have gathered for his training. Who stood before him gave him a slight shock. Kakashi he thought would be there, of course because of the ninjutsu part of his exam, maybe even all of it, but what he didn't expect was Kurenai, but then again she was the greatest genjutsu master in all Konoha. His taijutsu exam was split apparently, between Gai Taijutsu expert of all Konoha and Hayashi the greatest Hyuga, whose style is as great as the iron fist of Gai, but what he didn't expect at all was his weapons tester. Tenten stood with at least 3 huge scrolls, and that scared him slightly. Although there might not be a Kenjutsu master in Konoha, he might have thought Tenten was the master to watch out for, and if not then Kakashi was pretty good with a katana. Either way you looked at it, Naruto was in for a rather long day. First up seemed to be Kurenai when she stepped up to Naruto. Your first task is mine. Since you can't cast genjutsu, you need to break it. Break my most powerful one and you'll pass genjutsu with flying colors. Naruto nodded. Kurenai stood still for a second before flashing a few seals, and in a blink of the eye Naruto was covered in needles. But he didn't die, he just felt the pain and screamed through his teeth. It hurt, truly, but not as much as his earlier days, where he almost died every time, but it still hurt. And if he knew genjutsu, he knew only 3 ways to get out of genjutsu at all: pain wrong. This type of genjutsu already give you pain, so hurting yourself won't work. Someone gives you their chakra, nope, NG. No one will help me here. And pushing your chakra into your body and pushing the chakra of your opponent out of you. Thankfully, he had an infinity amount of chakra at hand, and he had very good control. He roared as he concentrated his chakra at a rapid speed, the needles coming out of him, but the pain stayed. He did need more, and he grinned, knowing Kurenai was having a tough time holding this jutsu. Kurenai indeed was sweating, seeing the amount of chakra being pumped out, and trying her hardest to keep the genjutsu in effect. Sadly, it was not to be, as Naruto's chakra blasted around, and in doing so, Kurenai was done for. Her genjutsu in fact was turned upon her. But she backed it up and quit it, a little scared now. Kakashi walked up to her and pulled her up. It's alright, Kurenai, take the day off, and get some rest, we'll test him from here. Kurenai vanished, a little panicked though. Kakashi took another step forth. Which one, Naruto? Kenjutsu or ninjutsu? Naruto smiled. Well, I guess I was right, you're my kenjutsu partner. Sorry to say, Kakashi, you're gonna need that Sharingan eye. Oh, and that kenjutsu first. I'm sure my mom would love to see my skills firsthand, that does not include training. Kakashi smiled, he knew Kushina was a hotshot with her katana, in fact she was known as the Red Death. Kakashi pulled out his katana and stood straight, a lazy laid-back stance, but useful enough. Naruto though took another route. He pulled out his small katana, and had it backwards, the blade along his arm, his thumb on the tip of the handle, and in front of high with the blade pointing to the side. Flashback in Taki? Kushina smiled at her son as he jumped for joy, having finally earned his katana. Although she was proud of his skills, he still needed his own style. Sadly, no one in Taki had skill, and the only other with katana training was someone she respected too much to ask. Although she did have an idea, Naruto-kun, come here. Here son stopped, and came up to his mother with a hug, and Kushina giggled at her son, patting him on the head as she held him. You've done very well, my son. But now it's time for you to make a choice. Naruto looked up to his mother, a little worried. You need to make a choice, either you go alone now, and create your own style, or you stay with your current skills, and not be as strong as your father. Naruto looked at his katana now, worried he'd have to leave for a long time. No, he knew he needed this, and he knew he'd be able to do this without messing up Jiraiya-sensei's schedule. He smiled up to his mother. I'll learn my own style, Ka-san, and I'll make you proud. Kushina smiled and held her Naruto once more. I'm already proud of you, Naruto-kun. And so he left to practice what felt right to him, and found it. End flashback. Kakashi ran forward in a very fast motion, and made it to Naruto in a blink, but Naruto knew and dodged the downward strike, only to slash up to Kakashi's neck, where Kakashi ducked back to dodge, but thanks to his Sharingan being covered, his chin was cut a little as he flipped back, and held his chin for a moment, healing it. Good, Naruto. You've cut me without the Sharingan. I know that was no fluke, but just in case, I'll use the Sharingan, and find out if you're really that good. Kakashi uncovered his eye, and in the second he could see, he found himself on the receiving end of a flashing yellow light, and Naruto striking down at him. He was wide-eyed for a second before shifting out of the way before the blade cut his arm off. It only took a moment, but Kakashi was on one side of the field, that was now currently in rubble. Truly that was a surprise to everyone but Jiraiya, Kushina and Minato, who knew his strength. Kakashi was panting now. That burst of speed he used to get out of the way was a little too much to use at once. He was truly impressed though. Naruto learned how to gain more strength, much like Tsunade. No, exactly like Tsunade. This was going to be tough. He knew his father's jutsu too. That yellow flash was a very fast move. Wait, there were no kunai like that around here. And this was kenjutsu, not ninjutsu. Maybe there was something to the Hiraishin that Kakashi didn't understand about it, and the kunai he would figure it out later. Now was the test. Naruto grinned as he stood up again, and lifted his arm up with the katana sideways still. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I'll let you in on a little secret. Kakashi looked at Naruto for a moment, then the most unsuspecting phrase hit him: you're worse than trash. A loud explosion followed, and in that explosion rage filled Konohagakure, and so did so much killer intent. People thought they would die from so much killer intent, and thought maybe the Kyuubi got loose, but no, something worse got loose. Kakashi's rage from being crossed into his own rule disobeyed the rules. You're trash but not caring for your friends, you're worse than trash. And he was called trash. I am not worse than trash. Kakashi had finally gone full out, and that was what Naruto wanted. Kakashi's katana was a blur of speed, being swung side up, another up to a sideways and diagonal left, and Naruto had trouble dodging it all, but he was thankful his style was mostly defense, always there to block, and his arm able to back up the strength of the opponent to a complete stop. Kakashi had backed Naruto up a few hundred steps as they dances in sparks and blades. Kakashi was getting tired of this and twisted, using momentum and his fierce power to strike Naruto, but Naruto was ready, and twisted to the side, and stood stern. His blade blocked Kakashi's easily, and this disorientated Kakashi very much so, where he didn't move until he set foot onto the ground. He moved just as he could because Naruto used Kakashi's strength against him, ducking down and rushing the jounin. Naruto was behind Kakashi now, his blade along his arm, pointing to Kakashi. A blood splattered along the ground between them, and they turned, still in stance. Kakashi grunted slightly as his side was cut, not badly, but bad enough to stop soon. Naruto took this opportunity of a standstill with Kakashi to mock him a little more. You didn't care for your teammates until one of them knocked some sense into you. Kakashi ignored his pain as once again his anger rose, and his attack continued. Naruto blocked the first blow easily. Obito told you that rule. Kakashi's second strike was faster, but still easily blocked. Obito went to save Rin, while leaving you to your thoughts. The third strike made Naruto lose his stance for a second as his arm vibrated from the third blow, leaving a slight sting. And Obito died because you didn't care until he told you it. Kakashi's fourth strike ended with Naruto's shoulder being slashed halfway through. Naruto was able to stop it with his, but barely enough to keep the arm moving. Kakashi was furious now, and not going to forgive Naruto even if he was his sensei's son. You don't know what you're talking about. Obito was my friend. Naruto swung the blade off his shoulder, and swung at Kakashi, who dodged quickly. He only became your friend when he was dying. Kakashi and Naruto exchanged blades once more, struggling to end it. I didn't know any better before then. Naruto ended it, and swung for Kakashi's head, missing by a hair. And apparently not now either. Kakashi twisted from the second downward thrust from Naruto's strike, and swung for Naruto's arm again, missing as Naruto blocked it again. I cared for you all. Naruto stopped it once more, again and again they exchanged blades, blocking, dodging, and everyone watching had sympathy for them both, and knew of Naruto's pain as well as Kakashi's. All you taught me was to walk up trees. Kakashi barely dodged as his blade clashed against Naruto's sideward swing. I also pleaded for you to be on the team. Naruto dodged to the right of the leftward swing to the ground. With Sakura who attempted to kill me, Naruto's sword dented into Kakashi's a little as he aimed for the head, missing. And Sasuke who put a chidori through my chest. Kakashi's blade was cut in half, and Naruto's, whose blade cut it, was now at Kakashi's throat as Kakashi was laid on the ground. Time stood still as the two locked eyes, anger and pain filling both. Kakashi was first to speak. I cared for you, Naruto-kun. I poured every piece of my blood and tears into making sure you had a teammate you could trust with your life. It's true I failed, and Sasuke defected, but I tried to stop him myself. But before I could come back and see how he felt after my talk, he defected. Naruto stood still, completely unlenient, as he listened to his sensei. Kakashi sprouted a few tears when Sakura was on the verge of accepting you. It was me who tried to talk to her, but she didn't listen when she tried to kill you after Sasuke defected. It was me who stopped her when your teammates stopped you. I tried to help you. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I truly am, but it isn't all my fault for failing you. It was also your team, who I tried to help in order for you to be accepted. I wish for your forgiveness. You can hate me for the rest of your life, for what I've done, but please forgive me. Naruto stood up, retracted his clean and undamaged blade. Naruto smiled, soft eyes looking into the pained ones of Kakashi. I forgive you, Kakashi-sensei, and I don't hate you. All I wanted was for you to know that you should never give up on your team, even when they don't listen. My two-san never gave up on you and Obito and Rin just because you were like us. He gave everything to help you, and he did manage to change you. Kakashi saw Naruto hold out his hand, and in that gesture, he knew he was forgiven, and accepted it, being hoisted up on his feet before being hugged by Naruto. At first it gave him a shock, but then he smiled and held Naruto back, knowing his adopted Oturo only wanted to help Kakashi with his self-doubts. Most of them didn't understand what happened, or what was going on truthfully, mainly Tenten and Niji, but the others did. Guy actually wanted to cry for real, this time for his comrade/rival. He didn't deserve such accusations, even if they were true. But he did need to know it for himself somehow. After it all became sober, and the crying, pain, and happiness ended for the time being, Kakashi stepped away to go see his sensei while Naruto gone through his weapons training. In the streets of Konoha, Baikija sighed as she enjoyed her stroll through town. Yesterday she didn't enjoy it, because she was so obsessed with trying to find a water source of some kind, being so used to water in Tsuchi. After finding none, she thought maybe she should accept being in Konoha, seeing as it was Naruto's home. After thinking that, she decided it wasn't so bad accepting another village. Actually, it might be fun. She did enjoy her night better, as she got to know how nature felt like in a forest instead of a cave of water. It was kind of relaxing, and the smells were great, almost like perfume all around her, and she loved it. Today she was going to get to know as many good places in this place as possible before searching for Naruto. While searching, she found a smell, something so heavenly she almost ran into 5 people while turning corners to find it. And find it she did, in the shape of a small shop with the name Ichiraku. She didn't rush this time, savoring the smell as she entered the shop. When she arrived, she saw 2 people, a rather cute girl and apparently her father, who seemed like a pretty tough character. But with that smile he was as gentle as a sleeping cat. She sat down and looked up, closing her eyes and smelling the aroma once more. Tsuchi noticed her after she sat down and smiled, loving the early service to the shop. He didn't usually get customers this early in the day. "Well, hey there, little lady, welcome to Ichiraku Ramen. What can I get ya?" Baikija looked at the menu and licked her lips. "I'll have a miso, pork and a large beef ramen, please." Tsuchi started the ramen for the large bowl as he got the cooked ramen out for the 2 other bowls. Gave the girl a glass of water. "Here you go, water's on the house." Baikija thanked the girl as she got her first 2 bowls. She grabbed some sticks, all while smelling the sweet scent of ramen before she started to eat. She took that first bite, and her eyes widened and almost popped out of her head. "Amazing!" After that exclamation, she was slurping up the noodles wantonly. Not as fast or as much as others did, mostly Naruto, but she did gulp it down more than normal folk. After eating her first bowl, she was about to dig into her next. "This is the best ramen I ever tasted. It's almost like you're a gift from Kami." She was just about to eat the first bite of her next bowl, when suddenly she remembered something. Flashback in Taki. Naruto and Baikiju were eating ramen in Taki's one and only shop, Horaman Ramen. Although Baikiju was eating excitedly, Naruto wasn't. Sure, he ate, but not like he usually did. Baikiju looked over to Naruto, and she just felt something off. "What's the matter, Naruto-san? I thought you liked ramen." Naruto turned to his friend and smiled. "I do, it's just the ramen in Konoha is better." Baikiju was slightly annoyed by that. "I bet you my greatest jutsu your old ramen shop is nowhere near as good as this one." Naruto laughed at that. "If you ever come to Konoha, search for Ichiraku. Trust me, you'll be teaching me your jutsu after the first bite." Baikija smiled wickedly. "You're on. Besides, I bet there's not a thing about that place better than here." Naruto ate his ramen again, knowing Ichiraku was better. Baikiju was wondering if it was or not, seeing as his sensei said he usually ate it in giant bites, and even slurped it like no other food around. End flashback. Baikija smiled. "Do you know a boy by the name of Naruto?" She slowly started to eat the other bowl, savoring the taste. Tsuchi laughed as his daughter smiled. "It would be a shame if we didn't. He's our #1 customer. I even see him as a son." Baikija laughed at that. "Well, it's good to see such nice folks, and good to know he enjoys this place. I can see why, as the ramen is delicious." Tsuchi thanked the girl as started to get the other bowl ready. It didn't take long, but Baikiju was earnestly eating up every bite, and loving Konoha more and more. In her mind, though, she knew being in Konoha could only last so long. She would enjoy it as much as possible, and so she enjoyed her meal and the company. Umbu HQ. "And that's how you should take out the target." "Roger." 2A and BU suddenly vanished from the room. Larxene sighed as she sat down again. She was a little bored from all of this. Sure, she was presented with a couple challenging situations, but that was it. Nothing more than a couple made her have to think out of the ordinary. One more A and B unit appeared and Larxene sighed. "What mission are you presenting me with?" Mantis, in a red cloak, and a rather large chakra supply had apparently come for a tough mission if he was here. "You are relieved today. We thank you for everything, but as much as this village needs you to help us with our missions, your rest and happiness is first." Larxene smiled slightly before yawning. "Thanks, Mantis. Truthfully, I knew that, but all I ask is for something to happen today. Something interesting, something I can do that doesn't involve thought process." Mantis laughed at this, seeing her fidget was always a treat for them. "Well, maybe you can take up a mission yourself. Or you could take the day off to train, or even get something to eat." Larxene grumbled as she looked over her reports. "I'll take up a mission. I'll request one for that matter." As she began to call out those words, her smirk raised, and she vanished, leaving a very stunned and very confused Mantis behind. Training field. Gwag. Larxene was met with a disturbing sight. Her eyes were wide as beside her was Naruto, who had suddenly appeared within the infamous yellow from the Hiraishin, no doubt. But what was fearsome to her was Naruto, who was now punctured by at least quite a few pounds of weaponry. Tenten dropped from the air as the horror hit her as well, and Tsunade, Niji and Guy as well. Kushina and the two Toad Sages were not scared, or in horror at all, and just as Kushina smirked, the bloody Naruto poofed out of existence, and the real Naruto appeared beside Larxene. Didn't I say not to pop in? Guy and Niji were gawking, as Tenten fainted. Tsunade, though, was confused and relieved at the same time. Shizen was gone right now, trying to find out about where Kakashi went off to. Naruto was angered as Larxene gulped. Sorry, Narusan. I didn't think I'd pop up in the middle of practice. Guy fell to the side and on his head, comically, as Niji hung his head in shame. He didn't even notice the movements, let alone knowingly see the girl suddenly pop up. And his Byakugan was activated. After a few words between Larxene and Naruto, she ran out of the way with Tenten in her arms. Larxene sighed as she found Tsunade. Sorry I ruined the practice. Tsunade shook her head. It's alright. Tell me, how did he do that? Larxene thought for a moment before knowing what Tsunade was talking about. Of course, the Hokage was worried about the sight before the clone poofed away. Naruto made the clone with extra chakra so it could take more damage, that way it could protect me throughout the assault and make sure no harm would come to me. Tsunade dumbly nodded, finding that possible. Naruto huffed as he turned to see Guy and Niji composing themselves, and smiled. So, you two have a plan to go against me? Niji and Guy started playing rock, paper, and scissors, and Naruto smirked widely. Oh come on, one-on-one is so boring. Why not come at me at the same time? Right as he said that, he got into a very familiar stance. One arm outwards in a forwardly faced palm, his other by his side in the same forward palm as the outstretched one, while his legs were in a wide, bent L shape. Hyuga house stance. Niji stepped forward. I want the shot first. Guy-sensei, back me up if I should fail. Guy nodded and waited for his chance as Niji stepped forward and got into his stance too. Tsunade looked over to the three who she knew very well, and saw them smiling. Minato in a proud manner, Kushina in a crazy smirk, while Jiraiya was about to give up his reputation and laugh right then. Tsunade wondered what was going on, especially since Naruto was outside of Konoha and only the Hyuga take that stance. In a second it turned from still to crazy as Niji stormed across the field and tried to strike at Naruto, who slid back and to the side, catching the arm and throwing Niji to the ground. Niji, though, wasn't going to give this chance up and landed on his feet, and spun, using his chakra around him to use his great Kaiten on Naruto, who managed to sprawl back just in time. Guy found his opening just when Naruto started to throw the Hyuga prodigy, and was going to use his famous dynamic entry, only for his leg to catch nothing when Naruto ducked under the leg. Niji stopped and found Naruto crouching to the ground as Guy landed. They both looked to each other and nodded, knowing how to combine forces. Niji ran forth and sprung a high kick up to Naruto's chin, who rolled back to dodge the blow. Guy was next as he had jumped up and was starting to descend on top of Naruto's flipping form, and was about to kick when Naruto kicked the leg out of the way and his other kicked Guy back and behind him. As this move was finished, Niji had recovered, and had now started strikes against Naruto here and there, and with his increasing speed thanks to his chakra-induced limbs he was giving Naruto a show. Though Naruto was completely calm and blocked or dodged each strike, grunting as he felt once or twice Niji striking a tenketsu and closing off some chakra. Guy wasn't taking this lightly though, as he got up and was trying to punch along with Niji, to meet Niji and him battling instead. They had stopped and started to look when Niji saw Naruto just standing by watching, a smug grin on his face. Hey guys, I'm over here. Niji and Guy groaned before running to Naruto once more, and continued their assault. Guy punched for a cheek and Niji kicked for a knee, to be met with a hand rotating in a circle and dashing Guy away, and Niji's knee being found against Guy's stomach, who grunted before all three jumped back and in stance again. Tsunade was looking towards the three-person group beside her. How does Naruto know the Hyuga style of fighting? Jiraiya answered this. There's a kid in my spy network. Some former Konoha civilian. He knows the old Hyuga way. It was more perfected before the Hyugas gone to be too arrogant in their abilities and stopped using it, and now they are the most lethal clan in Konoha. But because of their quick styles they have low reserves, but high control, thus why they have to finish their enemy quickly. This kid though found out about the old ways and perfected them about 10 years ago. When I made it into Tsuchi with Naruto, the kid was Naruto's taijutsu teacher. Minato nodded. He's also the one who did the jutsu for me to come back alive. He also became a good friend of the family now. He and Kushina-chan were good friends while I was away. Kushina giggled with her grin growing wider. Yep, he is such a good kid. Not to mention his bloodline helped us out in more ways than one. Tsunade whistled as she found out that a former Konoha civilian was in Tsuchi. Sarutobi must have moved him. Is the kid a ninja? All three nodded their heads, but only Jiraiya answered. He's the assistant Tsuchikage. And even stronger than the Tsuchikage himself. Tsunade laughed nervously as she thought how bad it would be if Tsuchi hadn't been on good terms with Konoha. Niji and Guy once again started to attack as Naruto was continuing to be on the defensive. Niji struck a low blow, trying to close off a few vital points, but Naruto used his earlier moves, much similar to him as the Hyuga used this type of style to stop opponents' attacks. Niji tried to swing a kick towards Naruto's head and Guy gave a punch from the other angle. Naruto ducked easily and grinned as he called out, Hakusho Taisenko. Niji punched low to the gut. Naruto bent sideways / Guy slide a leg down to trip both legs and both legs slide in a split / Niji sent a knee up to strike and found Naruto bending back / Guy split under Niji and uppercut Naruto's shoulder, but Naruto spun back away from them and found Niji striking his head, and dodged to the left of the arm, and Guy kneed Naruto's back, but found flipped. Having the knee pass and Niji tried to slam his elbow down into Naruto's chest, only for Naruto's flip to dodge. Both the knee and the elbow and the two to switch sides again. They stopped though as Naruto smirked, his eyes slightly glowing blue. Kushina giggled. Finally, he's having fun. Guess the two got better too as Naruto was away. Tsunade was curious on this. Niji is recommended for Jounin next week and Guy is our best taijutsu master. What's this about him having fun? Kushina giggled more as Minato's sweat dropped, knowing where this was going. Kushina looked to her older friend. When an Uzumaki has fun, or is angered, or in any way gets their blood pumping with adrenaline, our eyes glow, but not all of the Uzumaki clan has this ability. Our bloodline was only active in a fair few, which is why we were so feared. I have this Kekkei Genkei. Naruto's eyes glowed a little and Tsunade saw this now. She wondered what this was. She knew Kushina was a very famous kenjutsu master of her clan and former village, but never had she heard of this. Naruto chuckled lightly to himself. Okay guys, I'm impressed. You've awakened my blood, now it's time for me to go on the offensive. Both Guy and Niji were at a loss because of this, and slightly worried. They knew Naruto was slightly playing with them, and were scared he could do a lot worse than only give them a few bruises. Naruto was a flash, and a punch came quick and hard towards Niji's face. It was only a quick reflex and his Byakugan that saved him as he dodged, but only by a hair as the fist grazed his ear. Naruto's second punch came to the other side and found it faster than the other blow, but he managed to back away and dodge in time. Although he found himself in a very awkward position, leaning back and trying to dodge the blow. Naruto, however, didn't wait for him and delved Niji's gut with a powerful kick, and sent the Hyuga flying into the bushes and near Tsunade, where she found him knocked unconscious. Kushina smirked widely as Minato looked on, proud of his son. Uzumaki's rare Kekkei Genkei is that once adrenaline starts to kick into our rushing blood, our reflexes become faster, our strength raises tenfold, and our bodies become faster and more durable to pain. The problem with this, though, is that it stays dormant within ourselves until the adrenaline kicks in, meaning until we've started to have fun or get angry or sad or excited in any way, we're just normal shinobi, which was what caused our downfall. Thankfully, Naruto was one of the lucky Uzumaki children to have this ability. Minato cut in as he saw Naruto turn to Guy, who was looking very much worried about his safety at that point. Unknown to everyone, though, the Namikaze family kept theirs secret. We have the inept ability to increase our potential. Namikaze children are born talented. They can do whatever they put their minds to, and quicker than the last. I can easily attest to it also, as I myself became Hokage and also I defeated Iwagakure in the war single-handedly. So because of my Kekkei Genkei, Naruto gained the Uzumaki Kekkei Genkei. Kushina nodded, knowing this was true. Kushina put in her last 2 yen. If Naruto were to give children from normal people, his children would have the Uzumaki bloodline and Namikaze bloodline all at once. But if he were to marry and court with another Kekkei Genkei user, their children would have all 3 bloodlines, and their other bloodline would be more powerful. Naruto grinned as he was awakened. Guy-sensei, you might want to open your gates, or this might be a very painful experience for you. Guy didn't have a chance as Naruto quickly flashed his way behind him and kicked the Jounin away a few feet. Jiraiya spoke this time as he saw Tsunade was still a little confused. Let's just say that Naruto's bloodline is now. Guy stood up and got into his stance. Fully. Guy opened 6 of his gates all at once and the forest was almost blowing away at the release of chakra. Activated. Guy and Naruto disappeared from their spots, and reappeared in the middle in a clash of yellow and green, grappling for control, a crater from their combined powers forming under them and growing around them as it grew deeper. Naruto grinned as Guy was straining from the gates being opened and not able to overpower the blonde. Come on! Let's see you beat me at taijutsu. They let go of each other and separated, and yellow and green filled the area as they sped across the plains, destroying the ground, the trees, and even ripping the clouds to pieces as they fought with such intensity. Guy came up to Naruto's yellow-covered form with a multitude of extremely blurry and fast punches, in which Naruto dodged easily while sending a kick or two, only to be blocked by a hand and leg every time. No one there but Minato and Kushina were able to follow the movements of each fighter. Minato because he was the fastest shinobi alive, and Kushina because of her bloodline. Naruto threw a punch at Guy who dodged to the side, and kicked to the blonde's head, only for it to be blocked by the same punching hand, and Naruto twisting around to land a backhand against Guy's cheek, who ducked down and rolled behind Naruto and spun upwards. Konoha Daizenpu. Side kicking to Naruto's mug was unsuccessful as he ducked, but Guy didn't stop. He was on the ground again and spun a sweep kick in chance, but Naruto jumped upward, and that was what Guy wanted. He jumped up beside the blonde to give the final spin kick, only to find his leg caught in a grinning Naruto in a blurry yellow light. Setsuna Senku. Minato grinned as Kushina laughed. They knew this taijutsu well thanks to Naruto exploiting them one time. Jiraiya shook his head. Guy's a goner. Guy looked on in horror as Naruto was lifting his leg for a kick and saw a bright yellow light for a split second before darkness took him. To everyone else, Naruto was going into a kick and suddenly a bright yellow flash covered the area, and Naruto was on the ground, while Guy fell from above him. Naruto let his arm out and caught Guy at the last second before walking over to Tsunade. So how were my skills so far? Tsunade was slightly gawking at the performance. It took her a second to get her senses back, and smiled. Your kenjutsu was Kage level, that's for sure, even if it was short, and not very flashy. Your weapon evaluation was short, but it would seem you live up to your high-skilled targeting. As for your taijutsu, it was a very amazing show you put on, and I would say you're as good with ninjutsu as you are with taijutsu, right? Naruto nodded, knowing the genjutsu was a very amazing piece of work for getting out of one. Larxene was swooning at the moment, not even hearing the words before or now. Naruto was amazing. And she wished she could have a guy as great as him. Why not have him? He's certainly good enough, and will be needing a few good wives. I'll talk later. Shizen got Kakashi finally and returned. Tsunade-sama, sorry it took so long. Did I miss anything? She saw Naruto carrying an unconscious Guy and a Niji right by his feet. Oh, that means I missed Naruto-kun's taijutsu. Sorry I missed it. Was it good? Tsunade and the rest of them chuckled and laughed at her misfortune. Minato spoke. It was even better than I could ever do. Shizen dropped her head in shame at missing it all. Kakashi walked behind her and passed Naruto into the field. Naruto nodded and set Guy down. Ninjutsu now. I'll talk later. Tsunade nodded and got Awakening Tenten to go get some rest. Everyone stood in a group and watched the activities. It was going to be one hell of a fight. Did you see it? Naruto was asking as Kakashi was getting ready for the last part of the test. Kakashi nodded. I'll think it over later. For now, I want to see what you're capable of. Futon is a rare ability, but is a great attacker when it comes to a shinobi. Asuma uses his Futon abilities in his chakra-inducing trench knives to extend and sharpen the blades. But there is also another similar power when it comes to defense. Try to attack me, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi smiled behind his mask and took a kunai out quickly, and threw it towards Naruto, who stood still, and as it came up Kakashi saw in normal view that the kunai turned, and was flung past Naruto without even a slight bit of trouble. Naruto grinned. Try some more, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi grabbed 10 and a few shuriken along with them and threw them all towards the blonde student, and this time, to all visible eyes they saw wind suddenly spew out of Naruto, and the weapons either turned away or stopped and dropped. Kakashi grinned behind his mask. Wind used against the body to keep away the normal throwing weapons. How does it hold up to swords? Kakashi drew his and charged Naruto, and when he swung down, a thick amount of wind and steam poured out and stopped Kakashi in his tracks. Even if Kakashi was holding back, he knew the blade was not going anywhere. Naruto let Kakashi draw back a few feet before grinning again. Use a Kage Bunshin, let me show you an attack jutsu. Kakashi nodded, and summoned a few clones to surround Naruto. No hand signs, but in a split second a crater was formed, and no sooner did they sense the chakra, was there a tornado of wind blowing in perfect unison within the crater's range, and all the clones suddenly disappeared, not before Kakashi saw the cuts appear of course, and knew how deep when he found skin come out of nowhere. Tsunade was grinning ear to ear. That's my godson. Glad to know he has some tricks up his sleeve. Larxene, who was now stopping her drooling, shot up. Of course. He's a superb ninja. There's only one more thing, his right-an is even stronger. He could destroy the forest if he used right-an instead of Futon. Tsunade and Shizen both gawked, but as Shizen didn't stop, Tsunade did to smile. So you're protective of his abilities. I guess you two got close, huh? That got Larksin to blush before pouting. Yes, so what of it? Naruto and me see eye to eye in a few things, and he loves the way I helped him with his element. He even gave me a kiss for showing him how to use it to improve his own father's jutsu. Minato chuckled darkly. Please don't do this to me, my reputation is at stake here. Larksin grinned madly. I'll expect something to please my silence, Minato-san. Minato sighed, wishing it wasn't what he was thinking. Fine, anything, just don't tell about that one time. Jiraiya huffed slightly. Lucky Gaki doesn't know what luck he has, I envy him always. Tsunade's sweat dropped at that, likely wondering what this all meant, but let it drop for now. In Takigakure, a man in white with a headband over his eyes was inside the office of their Takikage, and was thinking about what was going to be said. You realize what position I'm in, don't you? The Takikage had his chair turned away from his visitor. We have Amigakure and Yuzugakure on our backs, and most likely a very thunderous Kirikaga coming to visit about our failure. The young man in his Jounin vest nodded. Sir, Naruto is within his village, and right now tying his bonds as we speak. He is also going with our plans, as I made sure of. We will not fail, Takikage-sama. The leader didn't buy it right now. Even if Naruto is doing as we planned, it does not mean you're right and accurate. I remember a few times where you messed up by just a simple step to your house and suddenly our third encounter had to be postponed, or we would have died. The young man bowed in shame. I know, Takikage-sama, and I will keep my insight as well as I can possibly amount, but right now, it's about Naruto, not me, so please trust me one more time before our time is up. The leader turned to the black-haired man and smiled. You know I will always trust you, Kage-kun. Now please, get ready for your travels tomorrow. The Yuzukage will not be pleased to see you late. The young man, now known as Kage, bowed and left. The Takikage sighed as he turned to look at his village. I hope you don't disappear, Naruto-kun. Konoha streets. Baikiju hummed, passing through the market street of Konoha. She wondered what she could find to get while she was in Konoha. Clothing wasn't much her fashion, more like a hobby to find out how boyish or how sexy she could look and actually pull it off, and the usual civilian shops didn't give anything interesting, a pot here, a necklace there, maybe a stuffed bear or cat as a home pet. She suddenly stopped as she found a ninja tool shop, and smiled. She'd like to get a few more kunai and miniature sides for her weaponry collection. As she entered, she found a girl with buns on her head, and looked a little like a panda, especially how she was lazily slumped over the counter. Baikiju decided to look around for a quick peek to see if she could find any weapons she liked or didn't know about yet. After a few minutes of looking, 2 more people came into the shop. Ohio Tenten. Yo, got the order filled out yet? My sis might castrate me if I don't bring her order before coming home. A gruff-looking boy with a medium-sized white dog told the counter lady, no, confirmed as Tenten. Beside him walked a pale girl with long blackish-blue hair and white eyes, some tight, but long kunoichi pants and a large jacket covering her fairly endowed attributes. Tenten sighed as she pouted at the boy. My dad is out taking it to Tsum-san right now, you mutt. Kiba slightly growled at the name, but smiled anyway. Well, nothing doing, I guess. Yo, Hinata, how about you? Didn't you say you had to pick up your sister's genin test order? Hinata nodded. Hi. Tenten-chan, see, could you get me Hanabi-chan's gear? Also, you wouldn't happen to have the weapons I asked for? Kiba was slightly taken back. Yo, Hinata, you never told me you'd be getting some weapons to use. Kind of a surprise seeing as your taijutsu doesn't need any weaponry, all mostly about your hands and fingers. Hinata blushed a little and looked away from her teammate. That's true, but I want to improve myself further. Kiba shrugged, sighing. Whatever, you do what you want, Hinata. All me and Shino wish for is for you to be happy. Hinata smiled, blushing as she nodded to Kiba. Baikiju was shocked to see a girl like Hinata. No, scratch that, she was shocked to finally meet Hinata. Flashback is Taki. Baikiju was training, having a small scythe out and twirling it as she stood in front of a training log. She was huffing, with scratches all over her scythe banged up around the blade, part of the handle bent in a very uneven angle. She wanted that promotion to Jounin so bad she was willing to destroy her body before she quit working on her skills. Her black flower battle kimono was torn almost to shreds, barely giving her cover as she looked a lot less decent than most girls in her situation. She didn't want anything at the moment, not even a fixed kimono. She tried to go once more, but before she could make her strike she felt too weak to continue, and fell face first. She panted heavily as she lay on the ground, trying to find her strength again. As she lay there she could feel grass, feel the cold wind along her face, and the smell of trees. She found it all magnificent, but at the same time, knew it wasn't real. Takigakure was almost barren with rock and crystals, only sparse vegetation and a few plants here and there, But still, it gave her comfort to know she could always find comfort within her home, even if she dreamt of another home. She thought she could lay there forever, but found herself hoisted up and laid against a log by a blonde-haired man, someone who she knew very well but has yet to see for at least 4 months, and smiled as she saw his smile. "Naruto-kun, welcome back. Find your style, I assume?" Naruto grinned and nodded. "Yeah, and thanks to you, I was able to perfect it. Your scythe practice when I first came here made me realize I needed to use a natural element of my body." Baikija blushed lightly. "You're welcome, Naruto-kun." She looked away lightly as she saw Naruto sitting down next to her. "It's a little windy, maybe some of the fall managed to break up a bit today. And maybe I could find a way to give you a little training, find out how well you did." Naruto sighed as he relaxed, slightly leaning along her side, and more leaning on the log close to her. "Nah, I'd rather relax here with you." Baikija blushed more, trying to hide her face. "Well, you could sleep in my lap," Naruto laughed softly. "And let you have your way with me? Sorry, Baikiju, but my first kiss will be with another girl. I promise you'll have the second one though, I mean, you will be with me alongside my first love." Baikija nodded, smiling as she leaned into Naruto more. "Who's the lucky girl though? You never did tell me her name, or even what she looked like." Naruto looked up at the shining crystals in the ceiling of the village. "Well, she's a Hyuga, that means she has pale white eyes, as her bloodline is the Byakugan, and she's a little pale, but always red in the face. She has blue hair, and a huge jacket. Her name is Hinata-chan, and if you ever see her, make sure you're nice. If you ruin her good nature, I won't forgive you." Baikija sighed, knowing it was true, but saw the light in his words. He knew she wouldn't. She thought about how the girl looked from the short details but got as most as she could before falling asleep. End flashback. "Well, I hope whatever you got helps you out." Hinata nodded at Kiba, who wished her luck. Thank you, Kiba-kun, I hope so too, I'll really need them for the Chunin exams." Tenten was going through the back for the special gear Hinata had asked for, and as she did that Baikija grabbed a new, Tsuki Shuha scythe, and walked to the counter. "So you're a genin? You look strong enough to be a Chunin already, maybe even a jounin." Hinata and Kiba now looked at the new girl in town, and Kiba grinned. "Well, hey. Eavesdropping, aren't ya? Well, truth be told, we've had little to no success because of our clans." Baikija giggled slightly as Hinata looked away slightly. "Well, clan or not, if you failed to get to Chunin, how can you face your clan?" Kiba pouted a little as Hinata looked sadly away. Kiba got through it first. "Me? I'm just not motivated because my sis would rather kill me as a Chunin than even try to murder a genin. This time though I know I have to make it or I'm as good as dead. Clan says I have to make it or I'll never be a true Inuzuka." Baikija looked to Hinata and frowned at the sad look. "What's the matter?" Hinata shook her head and faked a smile, and Baikija noticed it. "I am fine, just thinking about everything in my clan right now." Baikija nodded. "That's obvious, but what exactly is so troubling you're stopping yourself from becoming a Chunin?" Hinata was about to go and forget the orders from Tenten, who managed to find the gear for Hanabi, but yet to find her own order, but before she could start walking, Baikija caught her hand in a gentle caress. "It's alright, you don't have to tell me, but don't count yourself out yet. I'm sure it's important, but I'm also quite sure someone I know can help you." Tenten came back and smiled. "Well, seems Hinata's finding a new friend. So is that scythe all you're looking for?" Baikija shook her head. "Not really, think you could add on a few small throwables in the order? Oh, and maybe a kunai or 5, I've got to restock my scroll." Tenten got the other stuff and gave 2 scrolls to Hinata. "There you go, Hinata-san." "Oh, that's right, I almost forgot, find a third for the exam?" Baikija was slightly curious. "Third?" Hinata nodded, blushing a little as she took her 2 scrolls. "Me and Kiba are the only genin left, and not including Naruto-kun. We have to find another genin to help us take the exam, or we forfeit by default." Baikija paid for her stuff and stocked the kunai, and throwing scythes into her own scroll and threw her new weapon along her back. "Why not Naruto-kun?" Hinata blushed deeply, and Kiba was really confused by that question. "He's out of town for a while, we don't even know if he'll be back by the time we have to go." Baikija smiled mischievously. "Oh really? Well, now you know. He returned yesterday afternoon, I was with him when he came back. He'll be by the academy, I believe. Something about a teacher he had." She was thinking about the name that was given but couldn't put her finger on it until Kiba answered her. "You mean Irika-sensei? Wow, guess I'll go greet him. Hey Hinata, think we should go find out about our favorite knucklehead?" Hinata was blushing really red, and also pushing her fingers together. Why yeah. I'd like to see him again after all this time." Kiba smirked. "Yeah. So let's get going, huh? Akamaru, let's go see Naruto." Akamaru barked around all this time, lightly and unnoticed as he looked for anything to entertain him. Now called he barked out the door, excited to hear about Naruto. Tenten looked on as the group left, and as soon as she saw Baikiju start off she wanted to know badly, hey, you didn't just say that to get her hopes up, did you? Baikiju smiled and turned around a little, looking with a sideways gleam. Nope, Naruto truly is back. I came here with him and a few others. Hope your business goes well. And with that Baikiju was gone. Konoha Shinobi Academy. Iruka was giving a lecture to his students, smiling with pride as this batch of students were a good crop, and could easily be the best class of any other year. That was, until he spotted a few grades a few days ago, and knew he had at least 3 weak youths, or the normal dobe of the class. As he was about to let out for some exercise, a poof came out of nowhere by him, and there stood Naruto. Why, hello Naruto. Glad you could make it. Everyone in the room gasped, and a few even fell out of their chairs in fright. Naruto laughed loudly at the scene as Iruka did with him, half expecting that reaction. Iruka stopped so he could get the class back in order, before turning to Naruto. Class, I'd like you to meet a former student here. Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha's #1 knucklehead shinobi. Some of the class looked at him like a king of shinobi, seeing as he looked extremely strong, but a sparse few thought different. A girl in the back row with long black hair and white eyes and pale skin looked in wonder at how much this blonde looked like their late yondaime. Hanabi raised her hand really quick. Iruka saw this and pointed her out. Yes, do you have a question? Naruto saw the girl and grinned widely. Oh, if it isn't Hanabi. What's your thoughts, huh? Hanabi blushed slightly before looking down. WL, I was just thinking maybe you looked more like our dead yondaime Hokage. After she said that, everyone suddenly broke out in whispers in shock, finally seeing it. Naruto chuckled before suddenly being in front of Hanabi, who was passive for a second before falling back screaming in shock. Naruto chuckled before offering a hand. Sorry, but whatever gave you that idea? Hanabi was still scared from the sudden speeding encounter with Naruto, but took the hand and was hoisted up with her seat. Hanabi took a minute before processing the question, and when she did she looked down. You're dressed a lot like him, and your hair and eyes, and your smile too, you look a lot like him. Naruto chuckled before disappearing back where Iruka was. Now Iruka was no fool, but when the first time Naruto gone across the room, he didn't notice anything, except maybe Naruto gotten a lot faster, but that second time he saw it, a yellow flash, and was quite shocked. Naruto though didn't notice and thought he'd help Iruka's class. I wasn't exactly what you call a student, I was an orphan with no skill whatsoever, but that didn't stop me from proving how great of a shinobi I could be. I was a dobe, the dead last of the class, I even failed the test to graduate 4 times, but I still pushed on to win the respect I deserved. I hardly listened to Iruka-sensei, but what he thought me, whether I listened or not, was all true, and at least half of this stuff will help you. Iruka's sweat dropped from that. You weren't exactly Mr. Know-it-all, Naruto. Naruto grinned and looked to Iruka. Well yeah, but you didn't exactly give me a chance. Back then I was a troublemaker, but even so you should have been a little more supportive. Iruka sighed as the class began to laugh at him. So, Naruto, being out a while you must have learned a lot, why not giving your former teacher a hand? Oh, how Iruka would be surprised, as Naruto walked to the board and started to write a few things down, and it was only after he wrote it down did everyone get a chance to see. On the board it wrote, Genins and training, what's expected of you? Naruto pointed at the board. Okay, can anyone tell me what you're expected to do as ninja? Hanabi raised her hand and Naruto nodded her way. She stood up and told her piece. We're expected to follow our codes, and to always follow through with your mission, no matter the cost. Wrong. That surprised everyone, including Iruka. You're expected to follow the rules? That's true, the shinobi code is important, but what you're expected to do is to keep yourself and your comrades alive. Because without them, you cannot complete your mission, thus a failure to the village leads to you, your family, and your friends being at risk to death. In our line of work, it's true that death is likely, but if you can prevent it, then you succeed in being a friend, and a shinobi. Iruka smiled, seeing that he took Kakashi's lesson for the real genin exam, and combined it into being a good shinobi. What happened next would be a surprise to everyone. Naruto walked to a wall and grinned. So, any of you know how to climb walls without your hands? All of them started to giggle and Naruto grinned more. Oh, so you think it's impossible? A few of them answered a yes and Naruto shrugged before walking up the side of the wall and to the ceiling and looking down on the students. How about now? They gawked, they gasped, they even wobbled in their chairs, but Naruto grinned all the more. This is the normal genin training you'll receive, and if you want to pass the genin test, you're going to need a lot of chakra control and chakra reserves, so what I want you to do, and what I want Iruka to do, is teach you this. Iruka sighed, and was going to have a hard time, but Naruto did have a point, and to make this the best class to ever graduate, he'd have to teach them this. So, before I go, I want you to tell me, what are the 3 jutsu you should know to graduate from this class? A boy from the front stood. Kawarii, Henge, Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto nodded before suddenly fall taught he ground. He spun and landed on his feet in front of the boy. With that kind of exercise you'll do those 3 before you can even get near the test. HM? He turned to the door and grinned. Guess I was found out. It'll be nice seeing them again. Before anyone could ask, the door slammed open to show Kiba and Akamaru, and behind them, panting heavily, was a very tired Hinata. Naruto grinned and turned to the class. And these 2 are very good friends, whom I will protect with my life, and they for me. Remember that, because that is a true shinobi. He then turned and started to the 3. Iruka, they're all yours. And remember to do the wall walking. Iruka nodded as he walked out, ignoring his friends' calls as they followed him out. About a few steps and Naruto stopped. Meet me outside, I've got a lot of catching up to do, especially with you, Hinata-chan. And in a flash, he was gone. Hinata heard her name and blushed brightly. Hinata-chan. He called me Hinata-chan. Outside they saw Naruto standing in the middle of the yard, looking at the tree. It's nostalgic, huh? I used to sit there, wondering if I'd ever become a shinobi, and even when I failed the last time, I sat there, waiting for my chance, and got my chance, and even beat a traitor while I was at it. When teams broke up, I was hoping to have Sakura on my team, and got her, but I seen my flaws and seen what I lost while chasing my fantasies. Still so nostalgic to be here again, happy too because everything that's happened to me, made me who I am. Kiba and Hinata were downtrodden because of the sadness, but hopefulness in his voice. Hinata was first to speak after the long silence. But even if you had a tough L life, why you'd always have F friends like us. Naruto smiled and looked up. Kiba is a good friend, even though we're rivals, we're still good friends. But you, Hinata, you're an even better friend, you've always been good to me, always smiling towards me, and never mad at what I do. You're a true friend, even if I accidentally peeked in the baths that one time. Hinata eeped and was redder than red, while Kiba was gawking at Naruto madly. Naruto grinned before flashing behind a now fainting Hinata and held her up with one arm. Come on now, Hinata, don't faint on me here. Hinata was having trouble not fainting. She remembers Naruto seeing her in the hot springs, and how he had to pull her out and dress her himself, because anyone else would have taken advantage, and no girls were around. Combined with the fact he was holding her right now, she didn't stand a chance and clocked out. Naruto sighed, smiling though as he picked her up and carried her out of the grounds. Coming, Kiba? Kiba nodded and followed to a training ground, where Naruto sat Hinata down against a log and sat in front of her. Come on, Kiba, sit next to us. Kiba did, and Akamaru wrapped around him. So Naruto, how've you been, huh? Got us all worried about you, seeing as you left nearly the next day after the Sasuke incident. Naruto chuckled. Well, Jiraiya didn't want me staying here after all that happened. Anyway, I'm pretty damn good considering I trained harder than any of you. Kiba stretched his arm, grinning ear to ear. Oh yeah? What makes you so strong? Naruto grinned wider. I beat Neji and Gai-sensei both at the same time, and Gai was in the 5th gate. Kiba gawked suddenly. You think he'd unhinged his jaw? Impossible. I can't even beat Neji alone. Naruto laughed. Well, I beat him with Gai in the gates. And I still had the energy to overjutsu Kakashi and run around TH village before going to the academy. Kiba fainted as well from so much power coming from Naruto. Naruto chuckled before picking up Hinata and running to another side of the village and waited for her to wake up, and he hadn't waited long when she started to stir. He grinned widely as he sat in front of the girl who was stiff the moment she saw him so close. Naruto didn't have to wait for her to faint, he just started. Come on, Hinata-chan, don't faint on me again. Or do you not enjoy my company? Naruto started to pout with the famous Koinami no Jutsu. Puppy dog eyes jutsu. Hinata smiled while blushing red again, but giggled just a little from Naruto's playfulness. I always enjoy your company, Naruto-kun. Naruto grinned again. And you didn't stutter. You sound cute when you stutter, but your voice matches your face when you don't, and that's beautiful. Hinata turned even redder, if that was possible, and Naruto got a little closer. Hey Hinata-chan, the Chunin exams are in a week, and I don't have a team. Is there any way possible I can join up with Team Kurenai? Hinata was slightly shocked at this. How did you know it was a team exam? Naruto sat up and smirked his fox grin. Shikamaru told me, he is helping with it. Hinata smiled. Why yeah, we do need a third member. Naruto looked back. Kiba's strong enough, and should have been Chunin already, but you Hinata-chan, you have what it takes to complete the exams already, so why didn't you do it while I was away? Hinata looked down sadly. I am busy. If I don't make Chunin, I'll be disowned, If I do, I'll take the spot of clan leader, even though my father will make my little sister leader if I refuse. He also said if I fail again, I'm no longer his daughter. Naruto sent out a wave of killer intent, and Hinata was surprised at this, and looked up to see the angry Naruto. It was only a second, but once it ended Naruto looked up with determination, not anger. Well, let's show him what you're capable of, Hinata-chan. We'll train together until your father can't even keep up with you. Hinata smiled, knowing he cared and loved him even more for it. She was called beautiful, strong, and more so, a great friend. She couldn't be happier at the moment, and it helped that Naruto's courage sent her into a courageous mood. Let's train, Naruto-kun. I want to show you how much I've improved. They got up and started talking about their skills before doing a friendly spar with each other, and having the time of their lives. In a tree on the side of the field was a figure, watching them spar. The figure grinned wide as it watched. Kyuubi, he'll be trouble, but he'll also be great if we ever get the chance to have him. It had been days since the two left the village, and Naruto had yet to learn anything except a few survival things and listen to some of Jiraiya's lame jokes. Although it wasn't much fun, Naruto was happy to know he had someone that was like an uncle to him. A really perverted uncle, heh. Naruto was optimistic about his training, and he'd complete it soon enough to come back and join his comrades in the exams before all of them made it. Knowing what happened last time, he had a feeling he needs someone with him. It was day 5, and they were just starting to get somewhere through the endless forest, when Jiraiya stopped and took a deep breath, staying silent. Naruto was wondering what could make them stop their travel when he saw Jiraiya bend down and grab a little pile of dirt in his hands, and sniffed it. Iwahu! Naruto shut both his ears at the loudness of Jiraiya's yell, and saw Jiraiya grow slightly green before shaking his head and blowing his nose out. That's the stuff, alright. I forgot how stinky it could get. Naruto was really confused now. Ero-sennin, why are we stopping here? And what was that all about? Jiraiya bit his thumb and did a few seals, and Naruto knew this was a summoning instantly. A toad as tall as Naruto had appeared, and Naruto recognized this one. How could he not? This was the first toad Jiraiya ever summoned in front of me. I still remember chasing him that day to train me after he knocked out my last sensei. True it had been, but what was it doing here? Jiraiya smiled. Jinto, I need you to deliver a message. Tell Gamabunta it's a code green, and it'll be at the hard horse drop. Jinto looked to Naruto before looking back and nodding, then suddenly poofing off. Jiraiya turned to Naruto. We've got 10 days before we have to be where we're going, but we should get the journey started and resupply at the next town. Any free time we have I'll use to gather information, and you have some fun before we make the appointment with Gamabunta. Naruto nodded dumbly before they walked once more. For the first 2 days, Naruto stayed quiet about it, and continued to be happy for his luck to have Jiraiya with him, but the 3rd day he was restless, and couldn't stop nagging on about not being taught anything since the trip started, and that was really getting on Jiraiya's last nerves, and it only took till after lunch when Jiraiya finally snapped. Kami! Your father wasn't as bad as you. Jiraiya no sooner realized what he said than knowing that once he did he'd be in for a very long discussion. Jiraiya sighed as he turned back to see a silent, but rather confused Naruto. True, Jiraiya's known student was the Yondaime, but even Naruto couldn't conclude that his father was this man's student. Jiraiya gave a stern look. I didn't want to reveal this to you yet, I was going to when we got to River Country, but now I think you'll never forgive me if I leave it at this. Your father was the Yondaime Hokage, and he was the one who sealed the Kyuubi inside you. Naruto didn't even flinch, and that confused Jiraiya greatly, but he knew he had to be stern until he got to Naruto's mother. He was a great man, and a little like you. Easygoing and always smiling even in the toughest situations, and a genius like no other. He was cunning in battle, and wise in tactics to even know how to match all the Naras and Shogi, but he could never be as knuckleheaded as you. Naruto looked down for a moment. It's true I'm not a genius, and I can't even beat Shikamaru, and he's my age, his father could take me no problem really. But he's my father, and I understand what he did and why he did it, and I'm glad he cared for me and the village by giving me the power of the Kyuubi. Jiraiya lost face and was dumbstruck. This kid is full of surprises, alright. I didn't expect the knucklehead to figure out about his father. Then again, any moron should be able to circum that Naruto looks almost like a clone of Minato, but the baby fat and super fox-like grin with that attitude is definitely his mother's. Jiraiya shook out of it and smiled. He protected his village as Hokage, and he is honored for it. You had a rough life, but that's because, whether you're Minato's son or not, they see you as Kyuubi. Do you know why? Naruto grinned sadly. Yeah, because the Kyuubi could never be killed by a mortal in normal means. Everyone knew I was to be the container for its soul, and so they saw me as a reincarnation of the beast. I can't forgive most acts of violence against me, but I can understand their hatred at losing their families. Jiraiya smiled, a little tear welling up in his eye. Naruto, the day will come when everyone in the world will understand each other. I've yet to find the answer to make this happen, and your father died before he could find it too, but you still have time unlike I have. My age is getting to me and you know this, so I want you to find the answer. I want you to help make the world a better place, where others understand each other. Can you do this for me and your parents? Naruto smiled at Jiraiya and nodded. For everyone. For you, Bachan, Sakura-san, Lee-san, and everyone else in the world. Jiraiya put a hand on Naruto's head and rubbed it through the locks of golden hair. He had a sudden memory of doing this with Minato, and closed his eyes. Minato, I promise, you'll be proud of what I make of your son. Jiraiya took a deep breath. Your mother will have to discuss when we reach River Country. There's a few things there that will help you understand her better after a while. Naruto understood, and they started walking once more. It took them every day left to make it to the Sea of River Country, and when they got there Naruto saw graves along the water, and was sad at how many people died here at this coasting ocean. Jiraiya stopped for a moment, and went to one of the graves and kneeled in respect to the person's stone. Naruto did the same out of courtesy. Jiraiya smiled. You don't have to bow to your uncle. Naruto looked at Jiraiya shocked. Jiraiya laughed a little. Soma Uzumaki. Master of Kajita Shinki. Naruto looked at the name, and looked below it all. Beloved uncle, and trusted brother, rest well Umakuen. Love your Nachan, Kushina Uzumaki. Jiraiya noticed Naruto crying a little. Your mother wrote the uncle part when she was 3 months along with you. She wanted everyone to know that the Uzumaki lived on, and also honor her brother, the greatest shinobi who ever lived. Naruto looked at Jiraiya a little, wondering what that meant. Every village has a great shinobi, the Sandame Kazakage, the Yandame Hokage, the Nidame Iwakage, the Godame Reikage. Every single shinobi village has some great shinobi of their time, and of their entire village. Soma-san was going to be the leader of what would soon be called Yuzugakure, but he and most of the shinobi were killed, and it was all shinobi for this village. Your mother and 3 others survived the war, but the other 3 died shortly after. Your cousin died a few years ago on a mission from Kumo, your aunt's aunt died from poison 3 days after the war in Suna, and your grandfather died last year because he was found guilty of being a double agent for Konoha. He crossed Iwa of course if they used such means as to cut him piece by piece until he was nothing but little pieces in separate bags sent all across this country. Now you and your mother are the only Uzumaki alive. Naruto was silent after the story and Jiraiya knelt beside Naruto. Listen Gaki, your family may be scattered across the ocean, but they are still alive, and they will always be alive and with you, all in here, to guide you and help you along the path of good. All of them, right here in your heart. That broke the dam, and sent wave after wave of tears crashing in the sand as Naruto began to cry, on his knees as he felt everything suddenly hit him. Naruto couldn't think, he couldn't breathe right, and he couldn't even see, all he could do was feel the sadness, feel the death, but all that aside was the good and happy souls resting on him in comfort, making him feel happy, loved and wanted beyond all else. He could feel their love, he could hear their words, and he could almost see their faces as they smiled on him. He looked to his uncle's grave and smiled, feeling as if he had the same power. Just as he was about to get up on his own, Gamabunta hopped in, and shook the ground and made Naruto jump in the air. Jiraiya laughed as he brushed his hair back. Hey there Gamabunta. Nice timing, Naruto was just getting done with his crying session. Naruto got up and brushed his tears away. Gamabunta-sama, nice to see you again. Gamabunta puffed his pipe. Same to you Gaki. So Jiraiya-kun, are we all ready to go? Jiraiya looked to Naruto and he looked back, smiling with determination before looking to Gamabunta. We're ready if you are, you big old toad. Naruto and Jiraiya hopped onto Gamabunta's back and Jiraiya pressed a hand on Gamabunta. Here's what we'll need in order to take the trip. Gamabunta, make sure you don't overjump this time, or we'll be at this all day. Gamabunta put his pipe away and got ready, flattening his body and flexing his muscles as he aimed. Jiraiya's hand light up and Naruto knew what this was, chakra transfer. Jiraiya was giving Gamabunta enough chakra to jump the ocean to where they were going. Naruto decided now was a good time to stick to Gamabunta, or he'd be lost. Jiraiya smirked. Okay, Gamabunta, whenever you're ready. Gamabunta's eyes glinted. Sure, I'll take it. Launch. And with that, Gamabunta jumped, and on his back were Jiraiya, passively hanging onto the toad like it was nothing, and a semi-flailing Naruto as he screamed in fear. It didn't take but 5 minutes, when Naruto became a pancake on the giant toad's back. Jiraiya helped Naruto up, and then down off of Gamabunta's back. Naruto was out of breath after screaming so long, and at the speed of which they were going he could barely get enough air to breath after he screamed all his breath away, but he made it somehow. After Naruto got himself together he looked around at a slightly dusty-looking, but very well-made town. He was in awe at the structure of the buildings and was almost about to fall over at how wondrous it seemed. Jiraiya looked at the old abandoned village. It was built and ready just before the war started, and the Uzumaki trade had lost their lives, so they couldn't do anything with it, so it was abandoned. Naruto was just about to say his mind, when Jiraiya smirked at him. It's not that dusty, people actually live here. In fact, a good friend lives here, and hopefully he's around right now. Gamabunta jumped into the water and disappeared without a second thought, and Naruto followed close by when Jiraiya started to walk. Jiraiya and Naruto reached a tall building in the middle of the village and walked in, and soon found their way into an office where 3 black cloak with red cloud figures stood. Jiraiya smiled. Obito, Itachi, Kisame. Nice to see you 3. Naruto was suddenly overcome, and roared as he tried to let loose on the 3, but sadly he was subdued easily by Obito, who had an orange mask on. No need to be hostile, Naruto-san, we're not here to take you or hurt you. No, in fact we're here to help, and Jiraiya here is our liaison. Jiraiya walked to Naruto and got him up. Naruto, Itachi isn't a criminal, in fact he's a hero. He took away the entire Uchiha clan because they were planning to overthrow Sarutobi-san, and so Itachi killed all but Sasuke, because he loved his brother. Sasuke is a criminal now though. Kisame retired from Kiri, where Obito is currently stationed as Mizukage, where he'll be for the remainder of the time after this, because he needs to control a village in order to help us later. After all, without a village, we don't have a chance to save the world from destruction if Pain, Akatsuki's leader, manages to call forth his entire power. These 3 are now Yuzugakure's representatives and founders. Naruto looked at them all, and felt no hate, no struggle, only comfort and helpful smiles as they felt bonds with Naruto. Naruto thought it over for a little while before smiling and nodded to them. So what's our business here? Itachi smiled. I'm just visiting Obito, so not much business with me, and Kisame is just about to go and talk to Pain. Obito will need you here while me and Kisame get Akatsuki off your tails. Naruto looked cautiously at the 2. If I see anyone but you 2 here, I swear you're going to die. Itachi knew it was no empty threat, but smiled all the same. I'll be back to train you after you're ready for my training. You're going to need every bit of strength to go against Pain. Itachi walked past Naruto and Kisame shook Obito's hand before leaving himself. Right before he left he threw out a "see you around Gaki," and was gone. Jiraiya walked to Obito and sat down with him. Naruto, this is Obito, or as he's known to everyone else, Tobi. Naruto looked at the man, still cautious. Obito sensed this and chuckled under his mask. You don't trust me. I guess you wouldn't, seeing as I have a mask on, and I'm not really that well known for you to get any good data on me. Naruto nodded, and Jiraiya let the 2 glare each other down. Obito smiled as he took off his mask. The side with the eye he saw was complete and looked a lot like Itachi, but the other side looked a little jagged and disfigured, but altogether nicely fit on his body. My name is Obito Jakiro Uchiha. You might know me from Kakashi, if he isn't too embarrassed to tell how I was a great friend. That made Naruto fall face first. Obito laughed at this and smiled. He didn't tell you about his team? That's rather predictable. Now Naruto was curious, and sat down in front of Obito. Tell me about how Kakashi was years ago. Obito smiled and looked at Naruto. You remind me of me. I was always such a fun-loving prankster. Some of my family thought of me as a disgrace, but in the end I was pretty good of a guy. Me and Kakashi were old-time rivals, and we might still be if he knew I was alive. Anyway, as me being the good-for-nothing prankster, and Kakashi being the serious rules type of individual, it was hard to find a way past his strength, and he had the heart of the girl of the team. A medic mean she was pretty alright, but not my style. She loved him. Your father always came between us. I still wish that he could have stopped my death, but I'm glad I'm still alive. Naruto was really racking his brain to process all this information, and was failing as he seemed to be completely shocked at it all. Obito laughed a little hard before looking to Jiraiya. So what do I owe the pleasure? Jiraiya looked to Naruto for a second, then back to Obito. You're familiar with Minato's grave here in Uzi, correct? Obito nodded. He left all his secrets in that grave, and because he was the greatest teacher I ever had, I respect his wishes of not looking into his grave. Tell me, do you think Naruto is even ready? Naruto was still trying to process it all, and couldn't understand a thing. It was all blabber to him now, but he could still hear it, so he'd talk about it later when he woke, because all the information seemed to hit him like a couple blows to the head, and he was unconscious. Jiraiya and Obito laughed at that before continuing. He's ready for at least a good half of it, maybe more. He has Kyuubi's chakra. All I really need to do is get him to control the power flux at will, instead of having him show one tail of power instead of 3 when I need it. It'll take some time, but I have faith that he'll make it by the time we go back to Konoha. Obito nodded. I've got a little business to take care of before I leave. I trust you can find your way? Jiraiya nodded his way and Obito got up, bowed, and left. Naruto woke up a few minutes later and was able to find out he wasn't in the office of Obito anymore, but at a small patch of land with multiple weapons laid out. Where are we? Jiraiya was right beside him. We're at your father's grave. His wisdom and his secrets rest here, as his body rests in Konoha. Your mother made sure to hide everything about your father in this place, as per his instructions before the Kyuubi reached Konoha. Naruto looked at the different weapons and was rather surprised to see so many. What are all these doing here? Jiraiya walked through them. During the war, the best and brightest shinobi of the almost revealed Yuzugakure knew that they were going to lose, so before they gone back to the battlefield, they came here, and on this sacred patch of dirt lie all the prayers, and all the wishes of the future they all made. Every single shinobi that laid these weapons died, and only one was never from this place. Your father had a wish to keep the secrets of his abilities hidden, and only used when you were ready, and you are now, I know it, and your father would too. Naruto walked to where Jiraiya had stopped in the middle of his lecture, and saw a trichonai that belonged to his father. Is this where it's all buried? Jiraiya nodded. Everything he ever made to make him the shinobi he was known to be, and more so. Naruto, listen to me, it won't be easy, and everything that I'll teach you will be for your own good, even from the smallest details to the biggest mistakes ever produced. All of the things I'll teach you will be important to your training, and I will personally see you through it all, and if I can't, I will get a friend or two of mine to help you instead. Let me make this clear, Naruto, no matter what I tell you, no matter what you think is right, the important thing is that we finish your training and soon. Naruto nodded back to Jiraiya, and they dug up 5 scrolls and Jiraiya picked them all up. After a moment Jiraiya picked out a black scroll. I color-coded these scrolls myself, that way I would know what Minato wrote inside. Black for technique perfection techniques and how to create your own unique jutsu. Jiraiya took out a red one. And red for Rasengan construction, preparations, and quality force. You'll be learning both of these until you can't learn anything from them any longer. Naruto grabbed the black scroll and looked at it for a moment before smiling. I'll learn everything that my father left for me, and I'll prove I'm worthy of my father's legacy. Jiraiya smiled at his godchild. I'm glad I took the job of being your godfather, Naruto. Now let's get your training underway. Naruto grinned and opened the scroll and started to read under Jiraiya's supervision. It took Naruto a whole week to finish reading, understanding, and actually being able to put into practice everything within the black scroll, and was happier for it. In fact, after several lectures from Jiraiya on how to control his wind element, he was able to completely utilize it like second nature. It took Naruto about a month to create 3 unique jutsu, and perfect them to his demands and his liking, especially since each try on 2 of them would put his life in danger, and considering the Kyuubi's chakra and him being a Hanyu, any mortal would be killed. 2 months took him through the Rasengan. He was able to perfect it without a clone, and even managed to make it more powerful, and slightly smaller compared to its force, but that didn't stop there, as he made different variations of the Rasengan's power in smaller form. He could make small orbs of rotating chakra on each fingertip, and if he struck with one finger, a tree would be chopped down in an instant. He could make the Rasengan force through his body to make him move faster, almost like the wind forcing him to spin or fall or rise, or even thrust a fist towards his opponent. He could take down a Jounin with these skills, and Jiraiya, who was close watching, and close preparing the next step for Naruto, was proud of the progress, and proud to be the teacher of Naruto. Naruto didn't take long to force his Rasengan to become even better, with adding his wind element to the mix, and after his first try succeeded, after so many failures, Jiraiya came along to lecture him. Naruto, I see you found out about the Rasengan's potential already. Naruto turned around, huffing out of breath, to see Jiraiya smiling at him. Naruto smiled back. Yeah, I found out I could add my element in, and I did it. Jiraiya nodded. There's more, Naruto. Not only can you use wind, but also lightning, soil, fire and water. My element is fire. I've made my own elemental Rasengan. Jiraiya demonstrated by lifting his hand, and making a Rasengan ball, and just as it was contained, it lit up red and fire was coming off of it in some places. Katon, Guka Rasengan. That amazed Naruto to no end after that, and after much discussion Jiraiya finally agreed to teach him it. Jiraiya complained it wasn't for Naruto because of the elemental disadvantage, but Naruto commented on having a fire jutsu, just in case he couldn't fight wind with wind. Jiraiya knew if what he felt about the chakra paper was right, then Naruto would need at least one good fire jutsu. Naruto was happy, but the downfall was Naruto agreed to wait for it until they got to their last destination in the trip. It took them a week to reach Suna, and Naruto was happy to finally be able to see his friend again. He let Jiraiya do his things in town as he searched everywhere for the Sabaka family. It didn't take long as he found Gaara sitting near a small river. Yo, Gaara! That greeting was answered by a sudden hug from the red-haired Jinchuriki that was only a few feet away. After a bone-crushing hug, Gaara stood back to take a look at Naruto, and saw the fox features still, so he knew it was the real Naruto. Naruto, my friend, it is good to see you here. What brings you to my pile of sand? Naruto chuckled at that. Everyone had some kind of way to represent their home. Neck of the woods, rock in a hard place, watery grave, the list goes on each day. Naruto smiled at his friend. I've come with Jiraiya to train. He said being in wind country could really teach me to use my wind element to the next level. He said I might even find out how to make even more jutsu for myself. Gaara looked behind him. I love this creek, it always gave me a cooling sensation whenever I was down. I guess I should thank you, because if it wasn't for our encounter I might have never come back. Naruto walked to Gaara, who had stepped back to the river. Well, I should thank you, you're a great guy, Gaara, and if it wasn't for you, I'd have gone crazy in that hospital. To that they both laughed. It was remarkable how good they had become friends. The hospital incident was rather crazy though, as Naruto sometimes woke up and suddenly wants some steak or some kind of meaty food. It was a small phase for Naruto thanks to the Kyuubi's chakra, but he had made it, thanks to Gaara using a lullaby from his childhood. It worked like a charm and everyone was grateful for it. They caught up on some good times before Temari came along. Naruto had to admit, her new look struck wonders in any man's mind, but Naruto felt more towards someone else, and he couldn't figure it out. After a few words and Temari saying yes to helping Naruto with his wind element, the siblings were off, and Naruto went to find some ramen. 3 days passed where Naruto got to realize a lot about Suna, and found a spiritual connection with the land of wind. Something inside him felt like Ti could make him soar in the air if he just believed his wind was strong enough. Just on the 3rd day he felt it, and cracked above it, he felt like the wind himself, and on that day he faced Gaara in a friendly match, and Gaara was overpowered by Naruto's skills. Just as Naruto was about to give Gaara another round, Gaara saw Naruto's eyes and was worried for his friend. Naruto, your eyes, are you alright? Naruto was confused, and as he showed confusion his eyes were back to normal. What do you mean, Gaara? What about my eyes? They were glowing for a moment, did you not know? Naruto shook his head, and just as he did Jiraiya appeared and started to clap. Well done, I'd say. Naruto, you may not know it but Gaara has a point, your eyes were glowing. Gaara, did you notice anything during the fight? Anything strange right before you noticed the glowing? Gaara nodded. I noticed Naruto was dodging my every strike, and he was slightly faster. My sand also felt heavier with each blow he landed. It was as if he got stronger during the fight, not weaker like most shinobi. Jiraiya nodded. Kageta Shinki. Naruto recognized that word. Wait, Kageta Shinki? You mean what my uncle was famous for? Jiraiya smirked. That's right. The Uzumaki Kekkai Genkei. Naruto blanched. Do I have a Kekkai Genkei? Gaara didn't show it but was quite surprised by this development. Jiraiya walked up to them. Kageta Shinki, it increases the person's reflexes, speeds their bodies and improves their strength. Basically you're faster and stronger all while thinking your opponent got slower. The only drawback to this is it only appears in a few Uzumaki. Your mother had it, your uncle had it, a few of your cousins had it, and your grandfather had it. Now you've obtained it. It only becomes active when you get in touch with your natural element. Naruto was really surprised, but was also greatly impressed and happy to obtain his uncle's and his mother's legacy as well as his father's. So I can use it all the time now? Jiraiya shook his head. No. It only becomes active when you're with your natural element, and with you that's wind, but in order to use it, you need to increase your adrenaline. Naruto knew about adrenaline. It was the chemical in your body that makes you react faster during any situation, and most times when it comes really quickly you black out during the quick shot of adrenaline, and don't remember what made you get so pumped. Naruto was confused now. Wait, if all Kageta Shinki is your adrenaline kicking in, then doesn't that mean everyone has it? Jiraiya smirked. I asked your mother the same thing. She said no. Kageta Shinki is usable when your adrenaline kicks in, but instead of the normal reflex reaction, the Kageta Shinki increases your reflexes by 10 if used right, and also it can be used for longer than just getting a shot of adrenaline for a quick second. That is Kageta Shinki. Naruto was amazed and Gaara was really up for a good match. Naruto was pumped now. Okay, so all I need to do is have my adrenaline kick in and I'll have it activated to use? Cool. Gaara, let's go again. This time tell me when you see my eyes glowing. Gaara nodded and the spar began again. It didn't take long before it was usable again, and Naruto was really blasting through the sand of Gaara like it wasn't even there. This impressed not only Gaara but also Temari, who was watching from afar, and also Jiraiya to see his student use it so gracefully. After that thought, Jiraiya had a wicked plan, and it was so crazy it might work. It was 2 months with Naruto practicing his Kageta Shinki with Gaara and Temari together after the show Naruto and Gaara put on themselves. Naruto had a new jutsu, he could use his wind element without even thinking, and he could almost find out where a tornado was going to appear halfway across the world. Jiraiya was impressed by it all. They left soon and none too late, as Jiraiya felt the schedule was going to be tampered with if he didn't leave soon. He also had other reasons for leaving, then keeping a schedule. Akatsuki can't be told so many lies from Itachi and Obito without getting suspicious, and not to mention if we don't reach Taki soon, we're in danger of this new organization making its name through the nation. Shirohukumi sounds like there'll be trouble if we don't hurry in with our plans. It didn't take them long, thanks to Jiraiya opening a connection with Myobokuzen a day ago. He just got them to do a reverse summoning. Naruto felt woozy at first but found that it wasn't so bad. After they got themselves together, they stepped up to a large waterfall. Gaki, welcome to Takigakure. Naruto looked hard at the waterfall and knew this was going to be a tough year. After Jiraiya and Naruto climbed up the falls and into a cave, they both began to swim through. The current was rough and the rocks were sharper. It didn't take a short time like Naruto planned, but he made it after Jiraiya was already out. That was crazy! Jiraiya laughed at this. Be proud, Gaki. I didn't make it through till my third try on the fourth day. Naruto jumped up angrily at Jiraiya. Yeah, well, it was still hard, Ero Sennin. Jiraiya looked stern at Naruto. Stop calling me that, Gaki Baka. After a second of scowling silence, the two turned their frowns the other way and started to laugh at each other. Come on, Naruto, we've got somewhere to be. Naruto nodded. Let's go, Eroji-san. They walked through the village and Naruto was surprised at how well this place was built. The crystals on the ceiling of the giant cave were beautiful and well lit, probably from the light coming in through the tunnel river. Naruto looked around and found a happy little village, great people, and wonderful atmosphere. Naruto looked to some kind of training area and for a second he caught sight of a girl using scythes of some kind on a log. Jiraiya and Naruto made it to a large building at the end of the cave, and inside they saw an old man in a Kage uniform. Hey Shibaki, still kicking I see. The Kage now known as Shibaki stood and laughed. Jiraiya, you old toad, good to see ya. Here to visit your student? Jiraiya laughed and sat down. Nah, training my current one right now. My former student can wait. Shibaki nodded, laughing. If you can wait, that's convenient, seeing as he and Kage are gone for a few weeks. Not to mention that damnable woman almost threw a chair at me trying to get a mission the other day. She'll be away for a good month on this particular mission. Naruto was greatly confused from all of this. What are you two talking about? Jiraiya looked sternly at Shibaki before turning to Naruto. Nothing of your business, Gaki. Now to the matter at hand, Shibaki. Think you could get high here? I kind of need him to help train Naruto here. Shibaki nodded. You're the famous Naruto Uzumaki then, huh? Jiraiya told me a great deal about you, says you're the greatest student he ever had. Naruto looked appreciably to Jiraiya, and Jiraiya nodded, getting the message. After a few seconds, Hai came in. Taki Kage-sama, you requested me? Hai yawned after that sentence, and Naruto saw he was really laid back, almost as lazy and laid back as all the Narutos combined. Naruto groaned before getting up. Shibaki sighed and did a piece of paperwork. You are to train Naruto here in the arts of Genjutsu. Naruto blanched for a second. Genjutsu? You're kidding. I can't do Genjutsu. It's my worst subject. Hai sighed. We're not going to teach you how to do Genjutsu, we're going to learn how to break it. After you're done with that, you move on to the next sensei. Naruto sighed in relief. Okay, then lead me, will you? Hai and Naruto left, and when they were out of earshot, Shibaki took a bottle of sake out and gave Jiraiya a saucer. To the beginning of a better world, my friend. Jiraiya got his sake and nodded. To peace and understanding. And they started to drink themselves over. Hai and Naruto walked through town and found a training ground empty and went inside, both being silent for the moment. After a good minute or two, Hai sighed. There are multiple ways for you to break Genjutsu, one of them includes pain. You either inflict your own pain or you get someone to hurt you from the outside. Another way is to push your own chakra in a way that it overcomes and forces your opponent's chakra out of your system. If you have a team, and self-Genjutsu breaking isn't working, they can inflict pain onto you or they can push their chakra into you so the opponents can be pushed out. Naruto nodded, understanding the rules so far. There are times when one will not work, and sometimes when only one will work. If the Genjutsu involves pain, you cannot break it with pain. If the opponent's chakra is stronger than yours, you can't force theirs out of you. Let me give you 2 tests, and see how you fare against me. After I evaluate your test, I'll have you practice with me until you can do it without a second thought. Naruto nodded and sighed, getting ready. He wasn't. Just as he was about to give the signal, he was trapped against a tree and couldn't break free. Hai's voice seemed ghost-like and distant as it came from nowhere. Your opponent won't allow you to be ready, and will strike when you're most vulnerable, so think fast next time. Break this trap or I break you. Hai came from the tree and raised a fist, and nothing, as Naruto panted in front of him, out of breath, as he suddenly broke the Genjutsu. Hai smiled. You did good. Your chakra is stronger than mine because of the fox, and that's saying something considering I'm the best genjutsu master in all the world. Naruto wasn't listening, all he could hear was his heart as he found himself able to break the genjutsu before getting himself beat to a pulp. Hai stopped talking until Naruto was ready to take the next course. You understand the pain one, and no one's helping you, but in order to pass my test, you need to break this last one before I let you go. Naruto nodded. Hai initiated the genjutsu, and Naruto screamed in pain as he was forced to endure his balls being ripped to shreds. Naruto was able to get out of it, but not enough time before Hai had groaned. Again, this time quicker. Naruto was forced to endure it more and more the whole day, and was forced to do it again the next day and the next. For 3 whole days he was succumbed to feeling like his family jewels were being crushed, ripped, stretched until thin, and duplicated for 10 times the pain. After it was all over, and Hai was proud of Naruto's results, they stopped. Just as Naruto and Hai were about to leave, though, they heard a loud clash of thunder outside. They looked to see Jiraiya on his ass close to a very large and very steaming hot crater just made. Hai sighed. Pissed off Larkseen again? Jiraiya looked over and smirked nervously. I didn't do anything, I swear. I was just trying to see if she'd teach Naruto. Naruto smiled a little before they all felt it, the killer intent from hell itself. In front of Jiraiya, way across the line, walked a black-cloaked girl with long blonde hair, and was very, very angry. Hai looked to Jiraiya. I forgot to mention, since you've been gone, she's become more irritated when someone wakes her from her rest. Jiraiya looked sternly at Hai before running as another bolt came dangerously close to his dick. Jiraiya ran off heavy with breath. See you later, Naruto. She'll calm down enough to be your next teacher. Naruto paled before she walked by, and she was mad. Come back here, Jiraiya-kun, it won't hurt much. Naruto sighed as the rage went away. He and Hai took separate directions, and Naruto once again saw the girl in the training field. He walked in and saw her spinning and dancing with her scythe, elegantly slicing the log with her weapon like he never seen. He smiled and called out when she was stopping to catch her breath. Hey, train here much? The girl meeked and held her weapon tight before turning around slowly and saw Naruto. She sighed. Minato-sama, don't scare me like that. Naruto was really confused. Minato? You mean you know my father? It was then the girl saw the fox features and turned red. Sorry. You look lots like him, so I thought you were him. Naruto was still confused. How do you know my father at all? He's from Konoha, and he's also dead. The girl looked at Naruto again. Your father? You must be Naruto, Minato's son. Naruto wasn't really patient. How do you know my father at all? He's dead, he died sealing the Kyuubi in me. The girl looked down sadly before perking up a little. I guess you're with Jiraiya. Did he not tell you? Your father was brought back from the dead, and Kushina's been here for a good 15 years. Naruto looked at her surprised. You mean my father's alive? She nodded. He left on a mission a while ago, and so did your mother. They should be back someday soon. Naruto nodded and went off to think, not bothering to say goodbye. Naruto walked around for a moment before his thoughts began to process. She knew my father, but how? He's been dead since my birth. The only was as if he somehow made it back to the world of the living because Kami wanted me to have my father teach me. But then again, he was still dead. He used a jutsu that killed him, and it even killed Sarutobi-ji-san. It's a wonder why it's even possible he's alive, but if he lived, why didn't he come see me? Did my mom tell him I was dead? That's possible, seeing as Danzo is a wicked snake of a man, but if not, then why didn't I know? Does Eroji-san not want me to find out? Or was he waiting for the right opportunity unknown to Naruto? The way he walked was right towards a monument for the heroes of Taki. He looked just in time to not hit it, and read the title. Maybe the souls of the heroes will help me understand. He read the list, and how they helped, but at the bottom he found a small segment to those heroes that still live among them. Hai Chikagujin, Shibaki, Jiraiya, Kage, Kushina, and Minato? Toussaint still alive? I didn't expect you to find out so soon. I wanted it to be a surprise when he came back, but Baikiju told me what happened when you interrupted her katas. Naruto turned around to find Jiraiya looking at the list. You should have told me my father was still alive. Jiraiya frowned. Understand, Naruto, if I told you, not only would people begin to talk, but those who see him and you would rally up allies to fight by your side, or send your father's enemies toward you. If I spoke a word of it outside Taki, I'd have put you in more danger than you already are in. Naruto knew of the Akatsuki, and could see why they would get to him, even if Obito, Itachi, and Kisame were trying to keep them off their trail, but now they disappeared to their radar. Nothing could forge any confirmation about their whereabouts. Jiraiya smiled a little. Your father was a little wild starting off, wanting to go see you and hold you for the first time, and Kushina was tempted to do the same after finding out Danza lied to her about your life. It took Kage, whom Kushina trusted for years, to calm her down and make her understand, and she in turn got your father to stay put. I've always been watching though, giving them reports on you when I could. Kushina never believed me, but now she always wants to know how you are whenever I visit Taki. Naruto looked back to the wall and smiled, tears slowly dripping down his cheeks. So my parents didn't abandon me, and they did want me, and they still do. That's good to know. He looked at the name Kage and looked at Jiraiya. Why did Kage stop my parents? Jiraiya shook his head. Kage thought it best. After all, he can see every possible future for everyone he's connected to. If he knows you, he knows the people you met before you met him, he knows the people they met before they met you before they met him, and so on. Anything about one person, friends and family during that timeline, he can plot out their future, look into their past, or even see what anyone is doing at any given time. He has that power after all, to see time. Naruto wowed that. Who is Kage? Jiraiya looked at Naruto. He's a mystery even to me. No one knows his origin, no one knows who his parents were, and no one even thinks about it otherwise. He's just my best spy, and a great friend. He's the one who helps me with my spy reports. He knows where I'll be, when I'll be there, and even knows who I'll meet. And he's not that bad of a shinobi to boot. He can stay even with me pretty well. Naruto was amazed by all this. Think I could ever beat him? Jiraiya turned around. Now? You don't even have a chance to land a single hit on him after your training. You can take him on without getting hit. Naruto nodded and smiled. That crazy girl still my teacher? Jiraiya chuckled nervously. Yeah. Naruto, when we sought out for your elements, the paper split and crumpled up, meaning you have wind, and lightning. The girl is the best right-hand user in the village. Naruto nodded, slightly surprised to find out he had a second element. Then again, he was not so sure the paper crumpled because of wind. Jiraiya started to leave. Larksin will meet you at the small forest area at the west side of the village. If you have any trouble finding it, or if you don't want to be late, and trust me, late with her means death, then get someone to lead you there early in the morning. Naruto gulped, but nodded his agreement. He turned and looked at his parents' names once more. He smiled before leaving the wall to go train some more. Maybe I can get Eroji-san to help me utilize Kyuubi's chakra power flow within me today. Maybe then I'll be better at my training than before. Naruto was unsuccessful at finding Jiraiya after he suddenly disappeared, but thankfully he was able to find Baikiju. Hey there. Baikiju looked behind her and saw Naruto. She smiled a little. Hey, sorry if I made you a little mad because of your father. Naruto waved a hand at her. No, it's alright. I didn't know. Sorry, I just left like that. You're Baikiju, right? She nodded and blushed. I am. Jiraiya told you, I guess. So, Naruto, what brings you here with Jiraiya? Naruto shrugged. I'm here to train. Jiraiya told me I'd be here with him for a whole year learning how to become stronger. Hai passed me through Genjutsu, and next is Larksin for whatever reason. Jiraiya told me for my right-on, but I'm not sure. Baikiju smiled. Larksin is a right-on master, and also the most accurate weapon user in Taki, besides Kage. Naruto smiled at that. Kage? He's the best weapon thrower in Taki? Baikiju giggled. Well, he can see possible futures. He just sees what he needs to do at what time and what direction to get a bullseye on a moving target. Naruto and Baikiju laughed for a moment. So you're a scythe user? That's cool. Baikiju nodded. Yeah, I kind of use my body to define my movements, but as an extension of myself I make the blade dance. It's what I do in my kenjutsu. Naruto smirked. So let me guess, you're the kenjutsu master of all Taki? Baikiju shook her head and giggled, smiling wide. Nope, your mother is. Kushina Uzumaki is the greatest kenjutsu user in Taki. Naruto was certainly amazed. Nice. Is my mother really good? Baikiju nodded. She's turned down being an ANBU captain for almost 4 years now, but she's our strongest jounin. Naruto was